The Earth is very flat.
What's going on, everybody? It is Monday, June 14th, 2021. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. It's episode 100. Episode 100, 100% correct. I think everybody would agree with that. Not even controversial. What's going on, everybody? Sorry about Friday. I was really bummed. I had to go out of town and couldn't do the show, so I apologize for that. I was really looking forward to doing show 100 on Friday night, but oh well. We'll do it tonight, and hopefully people will show up. Actually, we've got quite a few people in the Discord already, so I think we're in good shape. You can hear me? Yes. That's awesome. Thank you, Bill. We've got Bill, Paul, Page 42, Ian Adams, Helen Degenerates. You guys been busy. Anthony Burrows, Good Servant, Mark Beretta, Nick, and Enigma. And Page 42 was first tonight. What's going on, guys? Yeah, episode 100. And that's just since we changed the name over. Because I started the count over. It was like January 1st, so that's 100 this year. Not too bad. Which means we're about halfway through the year already. What do we got going on tonight? I don't know. We're going to do Monday Night Fights. We'll see what happens there. I've got a fantastic article that I wrote that was, or I didn't write it, that I found that was very enlightening. Einstein time travel theory boosted with path to past found before black hole collision. Guaranteed that is going to be some good stuff. So we'll probably take a listen to that and see what else happens. All right, let me open up Discord.
Hello, Gio. Stacey's been here for a couple of days now. Well, a few days. Was it 6? Yeah, and she's staying for 3 months. So yeah, it was last Tuesday, Wednesday arrived on it.
Oh, cool. How do you like it over there, Stacey? Is it different? Have you ever been over there? Is it? What do you think of it so far?
Well, you're under quarantine, and every time you come, you have to be under quarantine for 10 days. So, and I still have to go back to America to see my mom again and all that. So it's difficult to go out and adventure and see places. But I'm definitely planning on going out and seeing a lot when this 10 days because I'm here for 3 months. So that should be good. But it's beautiful. It's the calmness. You know, I just came from chaoticness traveling, literally seeing how people are in society in America. And it's actually sad because there's people in the world that exist that you don't even understand that have compassion and they're gentlemen. And I'm not just talking about judging. I'm talking about how people are here. It's night and day. And it makes you wonder what the hell happened to America. I'm, you know, I love my country. I'm from there. But at the same time, it's fucked up. It's nothing like it is here. It's beautiful.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of gentlemen over there. You ever hear Chemo talk? He doesn't even swear. I think he swore once.
A lot of gentlemen.
Yeah, that's how they
UK,
are. They don't swear in front of me, and I'm going. Yeah, yes, there are though. They don't cuss in front of me. I'm going. I have the mouth of a sailor. They're like, that's just not how we are.
What a bunch of pussies.
It's really different. I know.
Yeah.
Just be careful.
Well, there's more like history over there. There's more tradition and history. The United States is more, I don't know, it's almost like an experiment or something that's like an offshoot of different things. So it's different, yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's quite the trip to take, Stacey. Nice. So what's going on, everybody? Sorry about Friday.
If you love somebody, trust me, I don't even want to fly.
Oh, you're sorry about Friday, huh? You're sorry about Friday. Don't let NASA hear you say that, Brandon. They might take their money back.
Everybody was getting their boxing gloves all ready to go, and then they had to hang them up.
What are you gonna do? Illuminati, Freemason, Bilderberg meetings? You know, you gotta get your priorities straight.
Well, I had the sacrifice written down on the wrong day, so I looked at my calendar.
Oh.
Build-A-Bear meetings?
Tonight we got the sacrifice.
We're having Build-A-Bear meetings?
No, Bilderberg.
Build-A-Bear meeting? Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I guess tonight is Friday Night Fights technically, and it's our 100th episode, 100% correct. Spectacular. So I don't know what's so
100%.
spectacular about it, but maybe we'll have a musical number halfway through.
Is that 100% correct thing a slight against Rumpus?
No, I'm just trying to be as accurate as possible when I create the titles for the show. So,
Another thing about 100, that is the exact percentage of stationary that our Earth is.
yes, that is 100% correct as well. But yeah, I really don't have much planned for tonight, but I did find an article that you guys might be interested in, and we can start off with that. It is along the same topic as has been on my mind the last few days, which is time travel. And I was just searching around for Einstein and time travel and seeing what kind of stories were out there, and I found this one, which I thought was pretty funny. Let me drag it over so you guys can see. It's from the Express. I don't know what the hell that is. Is that a UK paper? Yeah, Express UK. Is that a rag over there, or is this supposed to be a legit newspaper?
Judging from the layout, I would say it looks like it's one of those like paparazzi style. We're just gonna get
National Enquirer
stuff, but yeah, stuff like that. But I guess I don't know. Maybe this is just how their papers look over there. Maybe that's for them. That's legit.
Yeah, because it's got a lot about Prince. Yeah, it might be. But anyway, here is the headline: Einstein time travel theory boosted with path to past found before black hole collision. That's a lot of shit to pack into one sentence, for sure. Albert Einstein's theories, put forward more than a century ago, may have unlocked the possibility for time travel. We'll talk about how they phrased that. After leading scientist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson identified a path to go back in time.
Wait a minute. What? What? Leading scientist.
There's so much in there. First of all, may have his theories may have unlocked the possibility for time travel. Now, how the fuck does a theory unlock the possibility for time travel? As if his equations or something created
engineering.
Time travel.
I mean, science does lead to technology.
Oh, I guess.
If that was actual science, I mean, obviously that's not going to lead to anything, but real science leads to technology.
Yeah. I just thought it was kind of telling the way they worded it. Like, well, Einstein thought of it. He made a theory up, so that obviously has created the possibility for time travel. We can now do it since this old fuddy nutty guy thought of it. And then leading scientist Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I think that might just be like a testimony to how many stupid people there are in the world, that somehow those guys over there across the water are convinced that Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a leading. So that's how stupid they are, that they believe America, that this guy actually knows anything.
They always say, because they always tell us, the Globers who come in here, well, Neil deGrasse, he's just a science communicator. He's just an entertainer. So
he's a figurehead, right?
Yeah.
He's just putting that stuff out there. He's not getting into the nitty gritty. He's not the details. He's not the guy actually behind the scenes doing the stuff, right?
Yeah, he's just dumbing it down for all you idiots.
Right.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. But here, come to find out, he's a leading scientist. That was pretty eye-opening there.
They're not just saying he's a leading scientist. They're also claiming that he is doing whatever this is. Identified a path, like he's at work here doing something, that he's now identified this path
to go back in time. He's like become Doc Brown. He's a path in quotation marks. Why'd they put path in quotation marks? a path to go back in time. So let's see what this is all about, because this is really a load of horseshit. The concept of time travel centers around the idea of movement between certain points in time, parallel to movement between different points in space by an object or person. Huh?
Which is impossible, by the way.
Parallel to movement between different points in space. Okay, this is their whole space-time thing, huh? Oh, that's weird.
I think that what they're saying there is that it's comparable to movement from different points in space. That's what they're saying. The parallel there, I think, is that it's comparable. Like, imagine moving to a different spot in space. Well, in their minds, you could also do that theoretically in time, which is obviously retarded. There's no such thing as points in time. There's right now, and that's it. And then we keep whatever happens in the past, or we don't.
Yeah, that's the way I've always understood it too. But they got a different idea, I guess. Made popular by Hollywood, films usually feature the use of a time machine, which has demoted the idea of being perceived as purely the fantasy of fiction, particularly science fiction.
No, logic did that. Just plain, simple reason, logic.
In other words, they're saying, yeah, I mean, they tell it in stories they make up in Hollywood, so people don't think it's real, you know? And then they're going to tell us in a minute that, in fact, it's actually real. But forward time travel is theoretically possible, thanks to Einstein's general relativity. See, there it goes again. Acting like this is made possible because of Einstein's theory. Just the wording is so strange. Which specifies that if you travel at a good fraction of the speed of light around space, time will tick slower for you than back on Earth. Which is what they tell us, and they call time dilation, which is time travel.
Right.
Now it says,
how'd they get the speed of light?
How did they get to the speed of light?
In the math.
I don't think this is based on anything in reality, Rob. You're going to be disappointed.
It's all abstract in the math. I mean, I was hoping to go back and get me one of those betting, the betting almanac that McFly came back with.
Oh, that'd be so
Or
awesome.
the other guy. That was the other guy.
Yeah, what's his name? Biff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool to have that. Traveling back in time was thought to be impossible, but the expert revealed during YouTube channel Science Time's new documentary, The Science of Time with Neil deGrasse Tyson, that could be set to change. He said, there are people who have recognized what severely distorted space does. The effect of the severely distorted fabric of space and time.
Back up a second to what you said, the science of time.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a tongue twister. YouTube channel Science Time's new documentary, The Science of Time. Oh, I did say that. Yeah. That was the name of Neil deGrasse Tyson's documentary.
Science of Time with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check into that.
Oh boy.
Give us a full report. In here they're gonna get to the kicker. It turns out there is a path you can take around two moving black holes that haven't quite collided yet, where you can end up in the past of when you started that journey.
Absolutely. I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah, it's common sense. Everybody has sensed that happening.
If not, if you don't think so, you just don't understand.
I don't know why it took one of the world's leading scientists to figure this out. I mean, we should have stumbled upon this ages ago, right? You would have thought we would have figured
Yeah, it
this
should have
out.
went like it should have been the wheel, the alphabet, and then boom, fuck, time travel between two black holes.
Or them claiming that, it's just a change of matter, a manipulation of matter. Because that would be like, time travel. Like,
Yeah, bro, you get into a fucking machine and you leave and you come back and you're either in the past or the future. That's how time travel works.
Look at that beautiful photograph they have of two real black holes getting close to each other. That very legitimate, real photograph that they have right there of those two real black holes that actually exist.
What do you want? It's empirical.
Guys got to keep one up each other. That's why it gets more and more ridiculous.
Yeah.
You got to make it look like they're progressing, right?
Yeah.
Didn't Superman change time by spinning the Earth backwards as well in the first one? All you need is a spinning ball, but make the spinning ball go backwards, and hey presto, time travel.
Yep,
That checks out,
absolutely.
right? Facts, bro.
That was a documentary and the events happened in real time.
That was a documentary. Yeah, that was it.
It is backwards time travel, according to the calculations from Einstein's general relativity, and is enabled by the severely distorted fabric of space and time. This is what
We didn't
you
need the
get
rest of that
with
sentence.
black
You could have
holes
stopped that.
come
It is
into their own
backwards.
proximity.
It is
Yeah.
backwards, period.
It is backwards. So I guess, if you want to travel back in time, go take some path around two black holes that are about to collide, and bam, you'll come out in the past.
Oh, but now,
Yeah.
guys, listen. They're not going to be able to prove this to us because that's a ridiculous request. It's impossible for them to get two black holes and push them close together for you to see this happening. So obviously it needs to be accepted into the body of science without them showing it.
Yeah, chalk it up.
Yep.
yeah, that's a
Fuck it, write it down in there. There's already a bunch of ridiculous shit in there.
That's extremely cringy.
Speaking of cringy, look at this guy's face.
Level is
that
for
is a guy
God, so
that-
I get all crazy.
Yeah, right? You're just saying that level is what it is, and then you're the nut job. Like, what?
I mean, look at him. That is a guy you can trust right there. Just look at his face.
Ugh. Don't make it. Ah, no!
Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing, and I didn't realize it, but they do think that if you get up to the speed of light, time will
Right.
freeze, and then if you go faster than the speed of light, time will reverse. And that's my understanding. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems
So
to,
this is something that I was told when I was really little. My dad told me this. I think while we were driving somewhere or whatever. I think I remember being in a vehicle and he was telling me about how if you were able to get to the speed of light, that you would possibly be, or faster than the speed of light, you'd possibly be able to go back in time or whatever. Now I don't know if he believed it or if he had just heard. In fact, he might have read about it in that book Ender's Game, and that might be why he was even thinking about it to begin with. Because if you read that series, it has to do with that kind of traveling and time dilation, stuff like that. But this has been something that's been around, as far as I know, for years and years, that they've been basically claiming is something that can happen.
I just gave you the timeline in chronological order, bro. The wheel, the alphabet, time travel.
but all
Okay, just real quick.
Yeah.
So, so you're physically traveling forward at the speed of light, and if you break the speed of light, you then start to go backward.
in time.
Yeah, because I think the idea here is that the only way we see things is when light hits it, right, and then bounces off and hits our eyes, and so somehow things can't technically happen for us without the light making that happen because of the way light works, according to them. And so if you get faster than the speed of light, you're technically going to a place before things happen. I mean, maybe
Yeah,
maybe that's not quite how they explain it, but that's the way
Before, yeah,
I
but
think
that's
about
still
it.
forward. That's still forward. Is my point.
Bob, the first part of what you said,
don't
the first part of
go-
what you said made it sound like a little kid when he
You
puts.
don't go back.
Am I lagging or is it him?
I think it's him.
Bob, the first part of what you said sounded like a little kid when he's in his room alone and it's dark and he just puts the covers over his head and doesn't let any light get in and has it all sealed. Like if the light doesn't hit you, it can't
Right?
happen. The
Yeah,
monster
exactly.
can't get you.
I mean, but that's what they think, right? Is that the only way we see things is if the light hits the thing and then hits our eyes, right? And if that doesn't happen, then we don't see. That's according to them. And so, I mean, yeah, it's absurd. But like that's what it seems like they're basing it on is then if you then speed yourself up to where you are going faster than the light can hit things and make you see them, that you're now you're in before time happens or something. Like what?
What happens if you go back in time, but there used to be a comment where you were? And also, how fast does the backwards time travel happen? I got a lot of questions about this.
I think.
All right, well let's get Neil
faster you
deGrasse
go,
on the phone.
The faster you go, the faster back in time you go.
So I could just go a little bit fast and go back like one day and get like the lotto number or something.
You can try.
Okay,
Yeah.
look. It still doesn't make any fucking sense. That makes no sense.
Travis is time traveling right now.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense to you, Travis? This is so easy to understand why this is like, this is like so obvious, bro. Just kidding. It's a joke.
This isn't perfectly acceptable to you? What?
How's this?
You're cutting
Is this?
out.
Am I any clearer right now?
Okay. I don't think so.
You're glitching in time, bro.
Yeah, that's right. He's doing it, guys. He's going back in time.
How fast are you traveling right now?
88 miles an hour.
That's it. All you need is 1.21 gigawatts, and you're good.
You sounded better than just then, but we'll give you a minute. Now, all of them are not on the same page, it seems. I thought this was interesting. At the end of this article, it says, some scientists take issue with the idea of a singularity, as something infinitely dense has never been observed in the universe.
Wow.
Yeah, infinitely
That's
dense.
the point of contention here, is that one thing they haven't observed, everything else is fine. But hey, we haven't found the infinitely dense thing.
Right. That's
But we got the time travel forward and backwards all worked out. Don't worry about that one.
They say quantum mechanics is a fundamental theory in physics that provides a description of the physical properties of nature at the scale of atoms and subatomic particles. Yeah, everything's a tiny little sphere theory. In this theory, the smallest unit in the universe is what is known as a Planck length to physicists. Quantum mechanics expert Sean Carroll previously explained, if infinity doesn't exist, then singularities don't exist. And if singularities don't exist, then Einstein's theory of general relativity is not correct. The simplest thing we can do is change some equations. Change his theory of gravity. Okay. So at least
gravity's a hot mess.
Yeah, this
gravity's
if the thing that is technically impossible to reach doesn't exist, then singularities don't exist.
Therefore, Einstein was wrong. It all makes sense.
I'll take that deal. Sure. Yeah, I'll take that deal. If you agree that if the thing you can never reach doesn't exist, then singularities don't exist. Like, if you'll accept that, fine. Let's go with that.
This guy just hinged all the Einstein's entire theory of gravity, like their understanding of all that shit, on whether or not something infinitely dense exists.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the key. That's what we should be looking for. Something infinitely dense. Then we can work it all out.
Yeah, let me know when you find it.
All right. Yeah, so that's that. I thought you guys might enjoy that. There's, I mean, just the amazing fucking science articles out there are just unbelievable.
I just thought of where we can find something infinitely dense. Rumpus's head.
Ah.
Rumpus here, infinitely dense.
Yeah,
There we go.
Rumpus
Rumpus's head proves Einstein.
That's right.
Help us figure something out, Rumpus.
You infinitely dense head motherfucker.
There's a bunch of crazy
just like,
shit out there.
Just like his science is somehow infinitely dense and yet full of air at the same time.
That's okay. They're used to the double think and holding two ideas in their head at the same time. So
exactly.
Yeah,
it's
and
okay.
it's hot and cold at the same time.
Yeah.
It's hot and cold in there. It's all kinds of shit.
But if you click around these science articles and this is just science fiction. It's like hyper realistic science fiction. What is it called when you pretend, like you immerse yourself in a world and you like pretend that it's real and like play it out in real life?
Cosplay.
Yeah,
are you talking about LARPing? Live action role play? LARPing?
That's what it is. They're LARPing, dude. It's like an elaborate science fiction LARP. The whole thing.
I think that's what it stands for.
And this is fan fiction. This is like, the body of science is what gets that's like what is it called when you have like the stuff you can't break in a series? You know what I mean? That's like the
plot armor,
canon, lore. What?
They're like plot armor.
Yeah, but it's like the gospel, like there's some Star Wars films. Oh, that's
canon. It's canon.
That's the canon. And then all these other guys, they're all writing, fan fiction, and sometimes their fan fiction gets integrated into the canon, and sometimes
alternate
it doesn't.
Realities or alternate timelines, things like that.
Right. Wormholes.
Something like that. Yes.
That seemed like it was a little in depth for like a National Enquirer style magazine. Usually they're talking about like Bigfoot or
think about this.
Biden's an alien.
This I think works in their favor very much. Okay, think about this. How intelligent are the people who are getting their information from Express? I'm going to say they are probably very low on the scale. So it makes sense for the people who want others to believe what they're saying to pay places like this or to get places like this to put that crap in their magazine, because those are the people they're going to be able to easily convince that this bull crap is actually real. Like, that's their target audience, is idiots.
Good point.
Yeah, but that goes for all of media. I mean, there's not very much of a divide between National Enquirer and fucking USA Today anymore.
It's the production value, right? That's the difference, is the production value of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And perhaps like the access to resources.
Right. Yeah, this seems like it's like half legit, half kind of sensationalism. I don't think this is like full on National Enquirer. There's no Bat Kids or anything in here.
Yeah, if my newspaper doesn't have at least one set of Siamese quintuplets and a Bigfoot article, then I'm not interested.
The National Enquirer has broken some big stories over the years. You got to give them a little bit of credit. But it's all bullshit anyway. So anyway, yeah. So now we're all educated on time traveling by slingshotting around black holes and shit. There you go.
Yeah, apt use of the word educated.
They call us science deniers. What the fuck, man? Here we are spreading science.
If you deny that backwards time travel is possible, you're basically a science denier at this point.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Neil deGrasse. He's
Rumpus.
He's the big science
guy. He's
guy.
Gonna have to go back in time to fit all the others in before he calls you a moron. That's how dumb you are.
That was good. That was good.
JQ, $5. Attention, Globies. Wolfie has graciously offered to use the use of his boss Global 7500 jet to attempt the flight from Perth to Buenos Aires. Sign up ASAP. Is that right across the North Pole or South Pole? Supposedly, JQ, I take it? I'd have to look at a map.
Was it an epic or legendary? You guys are nerds.
Does he have like countermeasures for the SAM sites that are going to knock him out of the sky when he tries this?
He ain't gonna do that. Not a fucking
Fly
chance.
past Israel real quick. See what happens.
Dude, these guys threatened to do this. What is it called?
JQ's on the flat side, by the way.
Huh? Yeah, I know.
JQ is on the flat side.
Oh no, I know. If I was given the impression that he was a baller, I didn't mean to. Yeah, no, definitely. But these guys threatened to do this flight across the South Pole. What is it called when they do that? What is wrong with me today? I can't remember anything.
You read that article and you have literally become dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make space in your brain for the reverse time travel. Listen, it's called circumnavigation.
Polar circumnavigation, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
North,
so
south,
they've been threatened to do this for years, and every once in a while, every few months or so, someone will pop up and say, "I'm gonna put together a flight," and never happens.
Yeah, just let them go do it, man. Let's end this thing. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, if that would even, you'd have to pop back out, or you'd have to live stream it. I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't just do it though.
That's the problem. You know, another thing I noticed is, has anybody from the globe side or anybody period created a 24-hour Antarctic sun video since flat earth became big? Like, we know that most of them are made by like two guys, if you go look them up.
And
Josh
two of them
Powell
were
and-
dead to. Two of them were dead to rights, fake.
Yeah.
Like, no question.
So why hasn't, like, I don't know, what's his name is always saying he's going to go down there. Phil says, I'm going down to the South Pole, blah, blah, blah. Why hasn't a Glober gone down there and filmed the 24-hour sun?
That's a good
I don't know.
question.
They always ask
Good
us why
question.
we haven't done it. My answer is I don't like the cold and I'm not going to fucking Antarctica. I don't feel the need to do it.
Come on, you know you want to pet a penguin.
How about because there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica?
That's a good answer, Rob.
I was reading it. I was watching a thing about the people that work there, and they got to have all the blinds and shades shut and shit for some reason.
They do?
That's such a simple answer, though. That doesn't
Yeah.
allow them to control or trick anybody if they just say because it doesn't exist. What power does that give them? They need a much better answer than that.
That breaks the fourth wall. That's no good. JQ, $5. This is a continuation of the last one. Seating is limited, 16 people, but pricing should be somewhat reasonable as he will not charge to fly the plane since it's his dream flight. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's looking for
fucking do it.
Glovers to go with him, or is he looking for flat earthers, or is he looking for just anybody to go with him?
Well, here's an awesome take on it. I was looking at Google Earth in Antarctica, looking at a bunch of street views. I've noticed that people, just random people, can upload street views to Antarctica, which is interesting. Because I was looking, I was like, "What? It looks like greenery
Wait,
here."
what?
Yeah, you can look at it right now. Somebody, I think Russia. It looked like a college campus, but it was from Russia, I think.
And it's on the street view in Antarctica?
Yes, yes, it is.
Why?
It's
Why would you
weird.
fuck up your... Aren't they trying to make a model of what Earth looks like, or are they fucking playing Minecraft games?
I have
No,
no
anybody
clue.
can put a street view like picture.
Yep. So.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
but don't you
can
have to
add
like
that.
make
Yeah.
sure that that's where it is?
Yeah, maybe there's some checks and balances to it, but yeah, for the most part,
You would think
kind
so.
of-
Probably
Yeah,
like
'cause there was
Wikipedia.
I saw this article where people were putting goofy things on Street View, and it was becoming a problem.
Well, I don't know why you would let anyone fuck with your model. You got a good, model of Earth going there. Why would you let people just fuck with it, with what Earth looks like? You know what I'm saying? Am I bugging or?
Well, it doesn't
Well, it makes
really
me
impact the model. It's just like an overlay. Because
Yeah, it kinda
But if you go to zoom in and the model don't look like that,
no, you don't zoom in. It's like you click the little guy and then you can go down and it gives you a whole different view from the ground. Like
I think
I think
that
they have
probably-
their official ground view, and then people can add it.
One of their arguments would probably be something along the lines of Google Earth is not a scientific tool. It is a thing for regular people to mess around with, and therefore doesn't have the same standards as a scientific representation would, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, on the website it
what
says
Brandon
that. This
was
is just
saying
for
was
entertainment.
something different.
You're not supposed to use it for navigation.
Never
It says like don't you have to actually look at a real map. Don't look at this. If you get lost using Google Earth, that's on you. Like a disclaimer.
Yeah, right. Like something that relieves them of any liability for if you try to use that to navigate around the Earth that you're on.
So if you do that polar circumnavigation and you run into a dome or end up in some land that you've never seen before, the land past Antarctica, you come back and say, "Hey, what the fuck? I was supposed
speaking
to
of the dome,
go to South America and I ended up some fucking weird place across the Antarctica." So yeah, they probably don't want lawsuits
Was
like
Rob
that.
trying to speak a second ago? If Rob was trying to speak a second ago, hon, I think your mic is quite low. Just so you know, I don't think anybody's trying to talk over you. Just a heads up.
Yeah, we can't hear you, man.
Speaking of that dome, when I was looking around, you can't go in the center, right? There's only a couple places that you can get to the supposedly quote unquote South Pole, and then right, like I say, 100 kilometers, a little bit further to the right, you get to this big, large, 10-meter telescope, and it's pointing right to the middle, straightly right in the middle.
Where?
It's
Down in
I put it in the
Antarctica
chat.
or something?
is this an official
Yeah.
thing or did somebody just add that shit? Because people
No,
are
it's
just adding
official.
pictures.
No, it's
How do you
official.
know?
Because I already looked. I've been exploring Antarctica for the last 2 days.
So they have an official Google Earth and then a non-official
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I can. It's there. I just posted it in the chat as well.
I see it. South Pole Telescope. It's a 10-meter diameter telescope located in Amundsen Scott South Pole Station.
Do you remember when the British had blow-up tanks?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Could be the same thing, couldn't it?
It could, but I mean, I would imagine that they say the Earth's flat. They'd still want to look at the fucking stars, or who knows what that thing is. Doesn't even look like a telescope, really. But and then again, I'm not a telescope expert. Look at that. You guys see that? It's kind of weird looking.
I'm not watching.
Probably a weapon system. Anyway, what else is going on, man? What's going on in Flat Earth world over the weekend? Anything exciting?
Oh man, dude. 6 months ago, about the photo on the cliff or the beach or whatever with the red and black lines, and they compress it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course.
The curved table.
Rory's pictures, yeah.
So 6 months ago.
Oh, sorry, Joey.
6 months ago, the excuse was, well, those lines aren't straight because they weren't straight before they were compressed. Right? Then in Gems the other night, I got everyone swearing that those lines are straight when they're compressed. And it's like, yo, you guys are nuts. I mean, I think, I don't know.
This is what
they're just
talking
bugging.
about. This right here.
I've got a bit of news.
Let's hear it.
Rumpus's test has been put off.
Oh, that's a shocker.
Was it
Should have been
scheduled?
this weekend coming.
Oh, that.
Rumpus, come in and tell us what happened. Did you lose another videographer, or your director quit, or what?
2 to 3 weeks delay, he said.
Oh, bummer. I'm sure he has a perfectly valid reason for delaying it again.
Hold on, let me check the DM off him, see what he said.
He's been having a hell of a time getting those 2x4s tied down the top of his MG.
I mean, I want a picture of these little towers he built that someone's gonna hold up.
Yeah,
But that table is moving straight.
I had
No,
terrible
this table-
trouble
this is
getting
so
all the
stupid.
posts. I had terrible
Those
trouble
red and
getting
black lines. My bad,
posts
Brian. Go
and
ahead.
tubes to the site. I need more time to prepare the 4 locations and get all the equipment there. So it's a logistical problem.
Okay.
Now, do those
I'm
red
gonna
and
do that.
black?
How the fuck he ever thought he was going to run up and down a canal 6 miles long on his own, fucking knocking posts in, and I don't know.
No, you got those red and black lines on screen?
Yeah.
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 It's
Now, do
funny
those
how-
red and go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jeremy. I mean, quick.
I mean, do those red and black lines look straight to anyone
Not at all.
No.
when they're compressed? Is it compressed? Yeah.
It's
They're
not
trying to say that-
compressed, and it's not straight. It doesn't look straight when it's not compressed.
What are we
Right.
looking at?
This is the Glober's proof that the Earth is a ball. It's a
Deadass
crooked
head.
table with some crooked steel bars on it, looking out over the ocean that's foggy in the distance. This is This is how low they've sunk. That they have to go around professing that the Earth is a giant ball based on this pathetic photo.
Look at the right one real closely, if you will. You can see how it's kind of slightly slant at the end of it, going up. The right one. I don't know if it's your left or right. I don't know how the screen share is working on that.
Here, I'll condense it. Let me copy this and you can see.
Because I can
This
see
is
it right.
stupid.
I can
This
see
is
it right away.
This is a stupid thing to do in the first place, to take a photo and squish it and then try to claim that you can figure out the shape of the Earth based on that. That is really
Yeah, but I've done that.
dumb.
I've done that with a perfectly flat table and a perfectly flat level. I compressed it and I got a bow in it.
Yeah, the whole idea is stupid. See, then you look at this and you go, "Oh, see, ocean's curved, Earth's a ball."
That is an effect of the camera lens.
It could be the effect of a bunch of different things. It could just be it's foggy out there. That's as far as you can see.
I would agree with Brian. I think it's the camera lens.
Dude, we've debunked this up 500 different ways. Look, why is there?
Let me see if I can find my pictures.
Let me see here.
I mean, I just thought it was funny. They were trying. I got Blue's taking pictures of him holding a level up to the compressed lines, trying to show that they're straight. And even in there, I could see that they're not straight.
Yeah, this whole thing's really stupid.
Yeah, they're not. You see the one
Like
on
you
the
have
right?
no. You don't have any straight lines in your thing to show us that the straight lines aren't. In fact, we have things that we are, should be straight, like the red and black bar and the table. Should be. You should have a straight table. I mean, I don't know, maybe not. You should. You need some kind of control in there to be like, all right, here's our straight thing.
Right, this is how I done it. That's a perfectly flat table with a level on it.
Hold on.
Yeah, if
Sharing your screen.
you look close enough, though, you can see the right one slanted up.
And then I just compressed it, and I got a curved line. The red line, I put that on afterwards.
All right, let's do your photo
Then
now.
I got that curved. I got the spirit level to curve up like that. Literally. You can take the image and do it yourself. That's the exact image I used.
Yeah.
But
Brian,
the red line is put on post.
Brian,
It
there's no reason
doesn't
to
curve
debunk
because
this.
it's got no effect of the camera's lens on it.
Yeah. Yep, it sure is. It's crooked. There we go. This whole thing's stupid. Look, the level's crooked. The line on the wall's crooked. The only thing that's not crooked is the fucking red line that was added afterwards.
I ripped him a new one with that because it's fucking ludicrous. Here's the camera I used.
Yeah, it's optical.
If you
Is it a
find yourself
rectilinear
going
lens, or-
around, if you find yourself going around the internet telling people that the earth is a ball because of this picture, and you find yourself squishing pictures down here and arguing with people that this picture means the earth is a ball, you need to check yourself into some kind of rehabilitation center because you have a disease worse than crack addiction. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm being straight up with you.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Oh, Blue Marble's in the chat. Speaking of, what's up, Blue? You're not showing the photo with the horizon between the straight edges. Send it to me, Blue. Put it
You're
in
not
general.
straight.
It doesn't matter
You're not
which
straight,
picture I put on
dipshit.
here. Doesn't matter. Put it in the general.
There's nothing straight. Nothing straight is in that picture.
You need a LIGO in the picture.
So you should just go.
6 months ago, all your buddies over at Gems were saying that the reason that the red and black lines weren't straight is because they weren't straight before the picture was compressed. But now you're saying they are straight? All you gotta do is wait and you guys change your argument like I don't even know.
When Jeranism did the exact same thing with his table and it curved his straight table.
That's what Brian's got right here, dude.
It's an effect of the camera's lens, and it becomes more apparent the more you compress it.
No, Brian.
You're still getting the same amount of barreling, but over a shorter distance, so it would increase the effect.
Tell the truth, dude. Your wall has curvature. Seriously,
No,
man.
it
Don't
hasn't.
lie to us.
I don't think Brian Mabbott is a liar. That's the
No.
last thing I would call Brian
He's
Mabbott.
got curvature on his wall, man. Look.
Yeah.
That's not straight.
That's pretty plumb.
That's a curved wall right there.
So the image is there for anybody to do it. There's no trickery here.
Did you take that with one of those Red Bull fucking jump lenses?
Yeah, what kind of lens did
we
you use,
what?
Brian?
It's a 30. Hold on, I've got the camera here somewhere. Hold on.
Okay.
The Red Bull dude too on the ground said he saw curve, like how beautiful the curve of the Earth is and everything.
18 to 55 millimeter.
I don't remember what this one was taken
It's
with. Not that
only
it
a
matters.
short lens.
Yeah. You're gonna get distortion with any lens. We've been through that a million
Yeah.
times too.
It's not a lens unless it's curved, and if it's curved, you're going to get fucking distortion.
And then you add on to it, even if your lens doesn't distort anything, I would still expect to see, and I know this is a point of contention and we can talk about it, I would still expect to see a curve when I looked out at the apparent horizon. Not your Earth curvature. This is an Earth curvature. This is an apparent horizon.
If you're seeing the same distance ahead of you, you're seeing in a part. You're seeing a part of a circle. If you were to look down on it,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
it appears as a straight line. It appears before anyone gets mad. It appears as a straight line when you're looking at it from the bottom, because that's what you would get if you looked at a circle. A circle from the side or whatever. So. It is a straight line, but it's also part of a circle, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah. And we've got practical demonstration that shows that.
That was a fun weekend. I remember that.
Yeah. People were stopping when I was up at the soccer field because I made this big ass circle and I was measuring everything out. They're like, "What are you doing?"
That's what you were doing? Did you tell
Yeah,
them?
they did. They did. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Did
I'm
you
like,
tell
"Oh,
'em?
I'm just doing a science, the science stuff." You know,
Yeah.
with some of my buddies online, we like to argue about science. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, okay." And I know I didn't mention flat
Science
Earth.
is
I should have.
empirical.
I could have.
We don't
I
need
could have
to
flat
argue about
smacked them,
science.
but what's that?
I said science is empirical. We don't need to argue about science.
Did I send you any good TikToks this weekend? I sent you a couple.
I don't remember.
You didn't even watch them, did you?
I usually do. I might miss one.
I only send you 3 hours worth of TikToks every day, bro. Come on.
Let me see here. Here we
Bile,
go.
do it. You understand that the level is much longer than the table, correct?
Yes.
So when Brian pinched that image, it won't have as much effect on the table as it would the level, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your point in that?
Just found it interesting when you compress it, the bottom of the level stays straight and then the top curves. Just
The
interesting.
bottom of that.
BioDuel's not stupid enough to use something like this as proof of the shape of the Earth.
Oh no. I would never. Even Horizon pictures where they compress it left and right. I would never do that. But again, it's just interesting.
Bio, do you think those red and black lines are straight when they're compressed or no?
What red and black lines?
Show them the lines real quick. You got a real fucking dilemma on your hands right here. Depending on what your answer is.
I know we have so many problems that you make up in your head. I know.
Yeah. Show them the compressed.
Yeah, he just ignores all the problems. It's called hand wave dismissal.
I know. I'm learning from flat earthers. It's a really useful tool to not have to explain anything.
It's on the left.
Hold
side
on,
of my
not
screen.
have to explain anything. That's kind of interesting, right? Being as we've been explaining some kind of, I know, diffraction limits and all of those types of things in refraction, and now you could turn around to us and say, no, those things, they don't exist, but only when they suit your argument, and then you turn around to us and say that we don't talk about them, even though you are now parroting back what we've been telling you for the past 5 years. Interesting you say that, right?
It's interesting, my argument. We've never talked, but that's all you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a link from Gleam here. I think this is the original article where these appeared. From metabunk.org. They're doing the same thing. Old Mick West. I don't know what he says. Yeah, I don't know what he's getting at. I'd have to read this. The whole thing's silly. But man, he's talking about the distortion. There, you don't even know where, if you were trying to claim that there is some kind of hard horizon, a sphere edge, that'd be a tough case to make because you can't even see it. Yeah, this stuff has never really impressed me. We've had some good arguments over it, though.
We don't see the geometric horizon.
Yeah.
Is that a quote?
Depends on who you ask, Brian. Depends on who you ask.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, Brian, real quick. Oh, my bad.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, Brian, real quick. Is that level more in the top of that level more in the center of the camera, of the aperture?
I wouldn't pull it to bits too much, mate. It's a level, which tells you that it's level. It's on a flat table, and when you compress it, you get a bulge in the middle. Now, we know 100% that level has not got a bulge in the middle. I wouldn't overanalyze it. Just take it for what it is. It proves if you compress an image, you will see barrel distortion left to right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Brian. I already agreed that was the camera from the get-go. It's just I'm going down to more detail with Bio.
I think it's part perspective too of why you're seeing that apparent curve on your level. Just like when me and you did the thing, Brandon, with this going up from the circle of sight. I think you see this. It starts to curve due to perspective more than barrel distortion. I'm not saying there's no barrel distortion that have anything to do with it, but I think it's more perspective.
Well, it's just interesting the bottom part of the level. So yeah, the top part of the level does curve, and then the bottom part doesn't. That's the interesting part. But you're probably onto something with the focal point.
You think so?
It seems, if you look at the original picture, it does seem like the bottom of that level is more centered than the top of the level. It'd be interesting to count the pixels from top to bottom.
What you got to do is you got to take 3 pictures, one with the level in the center, and then one with the level at the top and the bottom.
I mean, that's not a bad way to do it. Yeah. It'd be interesting if you put the level at the top, or just move the camera down the angle, put it down, and then you might expect the top and bottom of the level to curve down, and then when you do it where the level's at the bottom of the picture, maybe they might curve up. Yeah.
The point is, we know that straight objects can curve in photos once you compress them.
Brandon, you still got that photo? I don't see it in the chat. I wanted to compare that, actually.
Hey, you guys, can you hear me? Is my phone better? Please tell me this is better.
Oh wow,
No,
it's a
it's
lot
shit.
better, Tony. You sound better.
You guys can hear me?
You're still mad loud, bro. Back up off your mic a little bit. Is it inside your mouth?
No, we can't hear Tony at all. Just drop Tony.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hey, how you guys doing?
Just sit this one out, Tony. We got this. Don't worry.
No, I have something to say about this one.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so it is.
I know.
Look,
No, go for it.
Come on, let Tony speak.
yeah, my bad.
I would just like some metadata from this one because I want to run it through my filter.
What kind of filter you got?
Okay, so it does.
T75,000 fake flat Earth filter. I made it last night.
Okay. What?
No, I don't know. I don't know the name of it, but I'm gonna run it through my friends and see what they have to say about it.
You don't know the name of it, but you made it last night. Okay.
Yeah, well, the fact that I'm lying, I was just joking. But it is a make-believe thing I made up. So, but I would like the metadata because I think it looks really altered. Brian Mabbott.
I don't know.
Maybe that was rude of me. I should have just came on and said Brian Mabbott pick up a fake.
There you go.
I'll dig it out.
That's how we do it around here.
Brandon, this has done it for me once and for all. For me now, there is no debate. The argument is over. This is LIGO. I've put 3 pictures there of that, what I call the left arm, and check the elevation from one end, the middle, and the other end, and they're all 19 meters above sea level. And it shows on the elevation chart as being perfectly level. Now, Zanit is absolutely adamant this is the flattest, straightest, levelest thing in the universe. Now, if Google Earth are showing this to be exactly that, straight, level, flat, which I totally agree with them, then when you do the same elevation chart for Blackpool, would that not be showing exactly the same?
Brian, do you remember when we went over this? When you do the elevation, when you do the elevation check?
The shut up. Why would this at Blackpool show it to be perfectly level, just like it's showing what we know to be perfectly level, i.e. LIGO? To me, this is 100% proof there is no curvature.
Brian, do you remember when we went over this? And then I asked you to do the elevation. Hold on, I know, I'm explaining it. So we did go over this before, and I asked you
but you're not listening.
I know, Brian, you're not listening. You're not listening.
He doesn't listen.
I know he doesn't. But we've talked about this before.
LIGO is perfectly flat, agreed by both sides.
Yeah, that's fine.
Google
so Brian,
Earth, show it. Shut up. Google Earth.
make your point,
show
Brian.
It.
Make your point.
Don't respond. Yeah, don't respond. Nobody can respond to
Why
it.
would Google Earth show Blackpool to be perfectly flat if it was fucking curved?
Here, Brian. Two points. One, and the most obvious, elevation profiles don't give a shit about the shape of the Earth. And number two, we went over this.
It's LIGO.
Please yell it louder. Yell it louder and interrupt me more. I'm sure that'll get the point across.
Yeah.
So the second point, when we
LIGO flat.
when we
Answer
went
his
over this,
question.
Brian, when we went over this,
I do.
I mean,
Is LIGO a straight line?
no, stop.
Brian a
I'm trying.
lunatic? Is
I've
Brian a
been
No,
lunatic?
Brian's not a lunatic. You're just
No,
you're
listen,
trying to trigger him.
No,
Calm
they're
down.
just
I'm not.
trying-
How am I trying to trigger
You
him?
won't
By
answer his fucking
responding?
question.
Hold on,
By
You're
guys.
not answering his
responding.
fucking question.
They're right,
Is it
though.
straight or is it not
Rob's
straight?
right.
Surely
It is
say
flat.
that
It is flat,
LIGO
Baudule, right?
is flat
Yes,
It's
that's, I don't care about that part.
on Google Earth.
The
Okay.
point that I'm trying to make is that it's a man-made object. When you go to Google
Why
Earth
don't
and
you care?
Hold on, come the
Wait,
fuck
wait,
on,
wait,
guys.
wait.
Let's be
Is a
adults.
lying
Let's be
piece
adults,
of
guys. Come on.
Yeah,
Let-
yeah, yes.
All
Let's
right.
be adults. Come
Well,
on.
let's call him out on his
conflate
lies.
the two then.
Let him say it.
It's going to be quick. I had asked Brian at one point to get on Google Earth and find a city or a neighborhood and do the elevation profile where houses are, where cities are. And what you're going to find is it's just the ground. You're not going to have man-made objects pop up on an elevation profile. It's the simplest way to explain it to
You
Brian.
want me to show you the ground that the
He's-
fucking LIGO's built on, you twat? That is perfectly fucking flat with LIGO.
God damn.
LIGO is flat, agreed by both sides. Google Earth, show it to be flat. And then when you do the same fucking test on the Blackpool observation, you get a perfectly flat fucking base. Now
Well,
you've
Brian,
got to
you sound
take that on the
completely
chin.
logical. You sound completely logical and sane, so we're all listening to you right now, for sure.
Brian, you
I don't
realize
give
that
a
the flat
fuck.
part, on the
These
Blackpool
cunts
elevation
are gonna
profile,
try and diss it.
the elevation profile for
It's
the
a load
Blackpool,
of
you realize
bollocks.
that's the water, right?
LIGO,
That's the sea level. They're not
shut
going to
the fuck
detect
up.
waves in an elevation profile. That's good. That completely
Shut
flat
the
part
fuck up.
is the
LIGO
entire sea right
is
there.
perfectly fucking flat. Google Earth show it as perfectly flat. And when
Well,
you
it's not
do the
perfectly
same
flat, to be fair.
over Blackpool observation, it shows it to be flat with no fucking curvature.
It's okay. Again,
Now either it's
elevation
lying about
profile.
fucking, now it's
elevation
either
profile doesn't
lying
care about the
about
shape of the
fucking
Earth.
LIGO or it's lying about fucking Blackpool.
It's not lying about either. If you look at the Blackpool elevation profile, again, it doesn't care about the shape of the Earth. It's just elevation changes. That long part where it's perfect, I'd agree, perfectly straight. That's going to be the sea. That's going to be the water. That's sea level. Of course, it's going to be perfectly flat. When you look at the elevation
Right.
profile for LIGO, you see dips. It's generally flat along the way, but you know it's not perfectly flat like the Blackpool picture because it's not doing the man-made shit.
Can I
It's
jump
just
in
the
here?
ground.
Well, hold on.
It is
I
not
want to make sure we don't miss
fucking
this point.
curved.
Is that the elevation profile alone? I agree with you because the water, I would expect the elevation profile to just show the same level all the way across. This, however, if this is an accurate elevation profile of LIGO, this cannot be straight. It's supposedly the straightest thing in the world, right? At least the tube inside is. It cannot both be straight and have a flat elevation profile. Those two things are contradictory.
Here,
Well,
here.
the elevation
Don't you
profile
do
doesn't
elevation-
care about the man-made object. That's the thing. So
Yeah,
this
it's
elevation
not of the
profile will be
building,
the
it's of the
ground.
ground.
That's why
Yeah.
I told Brian to find a house or city, click a house, and do the elevation
They
profile.
know
It's
this
going to
has
be the
got
same.
by the
Oh, come on,
bollocks.
Brian. Come on,
They
we're adults here.
absolutely know they are fucked with this.
I know that I'm giving proper responses, but I got to get to the end, and then you can refute it. So that's why I asked Brian to find a neighborhood, click a house, and then show the elevation profile.
Why does he
Now
have to
click-
do that? He showed
Now
you
I'm gonna
LIGO.
get
Why
to
aren't
the end.
you
I'm gonna get to
addressing the
the end,
LIGO?
yeah. Gonna get to
Why
the
are
end.
you not addressing what
I've already
did?
addressed it.
He
The
did
elevation
it.
profile is not
You're
going to.
advocating
I'm going to do it right
houses.
now. Watch this. I've done it for.
We're
this will
not
be a
talking
third
about
time.
elevation
For a third time, Rakia.
profiles of houses.
Rakia, for a
We're
third
talking
time.
about elevation profiles of LIGO.
Rakia, for a third time.
Oh, yeah.
LIGO
Of
will
LIGO.
not. LIGO
You
will
might
not
have
show
said
up on
LIGO
the.
one time.
LIGO will
You
not.
do not live on a ludicrous
I
fucking
know,
spinning ball.
and I can't get to
Take
the end
it
of my
on the
point if you
chin.
interrupt me. There's a lot of
You
things that
have
are
been
happening.
fucking
The
disproved.
elevation profile won't won't bring up man-made objects. So LIGO, what they did with LIGO,
Well,
won't show up
bring
on an
out the
elevation
fucking
profile.
do you want
When
me
you have
to
a
show you
neighborhood,
a
it's
picture
not
of
going
the
to show up on
ground
an
that runs
elevation profile.
alongside
This is why
the
when you look at the Blackpool elevation profile, you don't have all the towers, you don't have all the buildings on it.
There, Brian.
I'm not saying you
And
do.
now it breaks down.
Yes, you do. Want to see
It runs alongside the fucking tube, and it is perfectly level with the tube,
Uh-huh.
and it is perfectly level shown on fucking Google Earth, and so is the Blackpool observation.
No.
Get it in your fucking head. You have lost. The Earth is
no.
not what you have been told.
Dude, don't worry. Aiden has
You
to
have
chill is
lost.
here to save you.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
we go,
where did
Brian.
you take the elevation profile at on this? Is it on the top of the concrete housing, or is it next to it, or what?
I run the line right along the actual tube. But there is a road that runs, or a pathway that runs alongside it. Do it off that. It's perfectly level with the tube. This disproves their fucking nonsense.
Again, Brian, do an elevation profile or find an elevation marker of man-made objects. Go to New York City and click.
You mean
click a
like
skyscraper.
LIGO?
Hold on.
You mean like LIGO?
Hold on, Rakia. Click a skyscraper and then click the
Man-made, like
ground.
LIGO?
Then
Should
click
we
the
do it
ground
now?
next
Look,
to the
can
building.
you do it?
All right,
And then you're
let's
going to
do
see
that.
no difference.
Can you do it live?
Let's test it out. Let's test it out.
Yeah.
Let's test out what he's saying.
Let's
Yeah.
prove this fucking arsehole wrong once and
Brian,
for
you
all.
did this yourself, and then you said, "Huh, that's interesting."
Brian, you're being the
Is
asshole.
LIGO man-made?
Obviously,
Because these cunts wind me
So
up. They
can we
will
use
not
LIGO then?
fucking lie down and die.
of course you can
Even
use
when
LIGO.
they know they're fucking.
Then why are you trying to use a skyscraper in a house?
Because the argument is LIGO. He's saying that this man-made object should be on this elevation profile, and because this elevation profile is flat, therefore it's flat, or it's not conforming to some type of curve. What I'm saying is go to a
And
known
that's
man-made
without LIGO's
location
mirrors
that's tall.
being
That's tall.
pendulums.
Because at the very least, this LIGO is flush with the ground or very close. So find something tall, obviously at least 20, 30 feet, and then click its backyard. And then you'll see the elevation
That is
markers are the
without-
same height. They don't give a shit about man-made objects,
That
especially
without
LIGO.
their mirrors being slung on pendulums which hold them perfectly vertical and work perfect over 4 kilometers where they should be leaning away from each other. You are fucked, mate. Big time.
I know. No, you're right, Brian.
I've got it up. Let's take a look at
that's
it. All right,
lovely.
here's
Brian,
the
don't
Hanford
that. How about you
Observatory.
How about you call LIGO and tell them that they're wrong?
Let me try this on
Yeah,
the
tell
Hanford
them the machine
Observatory,
don't work.
guys. Let's see if it
Yeah, you're
works.
good. You can click the building itself, because we know that
I'll
that's
click next to it.
tens of feet.
I'll click
No,
next
yeah,
to
yeah.
it,
Talking
and that,
about the
that
fucking building.
we'll do both of them. Elevation 534 right here. That seems 533, 533, 533. So right next to it's like 532 to 533. And then on top of this thing, this shows 535, 534. Let me click right next to it. 534, 534, 533. And then the building, 534.
Exactly. So man-made objects elevation profiles don't give a shit about man-made objects. That's end all be all. We can argue about other things about LIGO, that's fine. But when it comes to elevation, doesn't give a shit.
Go on that road that runs alongside it. You see on there.
And this is how we make progress. Instead of yelling and insulting, this is
Can
how
I
we
ask
do
a
it.
question
Thank
about
you,
the
Brian.
elevation change?
Thank you, Brandon, for doing this live.
Can I ask a question about the elevation change and when it doesn't or does make a difference? Right, so you've got 2 points. You've got A and B at a distance. And you've got a 0 elevation change. But the 2 points at distance, let's say they are antennas and a mast that are trying to send and receive a signal that you require a direct line of sight for. Now, if the surface was curved between those 2 points, eventually that curved surface would get in the way of the transmitted signal, wouldn't it?
You're getting an
Yes,
elevation change there.
Assuming they're both the same height and same elevation, and they absolutely have to have a direct line of sight, no bouncing from anything else. Yes, they would be obstructed. You can't get a signal.
Yeah, of course. And this is the type of thing that they would have taken into account when they were building antennas and masts for analog TV back in the 40s, 50s and 60s. So in Great Britain, for example, the BT towers were built in London, Birmingham, Manchester to send the signals down. These masts were 100 to 125 miles apart. The only thing that they actually ever took into account was the topography along the way, as in the hills between the two, not the curvature of the Earth. Now, the curvature of the Earth over 100 miles would have been about a mile. There would have been a mile hump between the two masts, one in London, one in Birmingham, just over 100 miles apart. That would have been a huge problem. In actual fact, you wouldn't have got the signal if they didn't take into account the curved surface between the two, and they didn't, because it's not there.
You're conflating drop with obstruction there.
But the obstruction would be the curved surface of the Earth if the curved surface was there, but it's not because they didn't take account for it, is what I'm trying to point out.
I'm fairly certain that those signals will be bouncing off the ionosphere and then reaching those antennas in the same way that we broadcast today, in which the transmitter won't be 90 degrees. The transmitter won't be 90 degrees in respect to the surface of the Earth.
Brandon, you are getting a elevation change from the road onto the top of that tube, aren't you?
No. No elevation change. No, because I was running my cursor across here. This is 531. It doesn't register that at all.
Go on to the top of the tube.
Okay.
There. What's your reading there?
531.
You understand that
and now come onto the road.
You understand that the laser is inside
532.
the tube, right?
No, they're getting this show. Let them work it out. They're getting it.
So let's go with the road then, because that's parallel to the tube anyway.
But we would have to assume that they are perfectly parallel.
Is it the flattest thing known in the universe?
That's what they say, yeah.
Then the road runs parallel with it.
Not necessarily
if
the concrete
Google Earth
bunker,
shows this to be perfectly flat, then all of these are perfectly flat, because this should show a curve if it is perfectly flat.
No, not on the elevation profile. It will not show a curve if it's the same
Why not?
elevation.
It's flat. You
It's the
say
same
it
elevation.
straightens out the curve. So if it's flat, would it
you
not
just don't
show it as a curve?
No, if let's say just if the Earth were a sphere and you did an elevation chart of the entire surface and you did one complete circle around, the elevation profile will be flat and it'll have changes depending on mountains, ditches, shit like that. That's what's going to change it. The shape of the Earth doesn't matter, or the shape of the object doesn't matter on an elevation profile. It only cares about increases and decreases in respect to sea level. That's all that matters.
The problem is, Brian, it can be tilted too, because no one knows, at least we haven't been able to determine where the tangent point is for LIGO.
I'm not concerned about LIGO, mate. What I'm concerned is that they say it is the flattest thing known to mankind. Now, when I've done that on Google Earth, it showed as being the flattest thing known to mankind. So when I do the same observation for the Blackpool, whereas when I do the same test for the Blackpool observation, I get the same result. There is no drop, no curvature.
Are they lying about the construction?
Yeah.
Now, it cannot show a flat thing to be perfectly flat and a bent thing to be perfectly flat.
Can you hear me?
It should either show the flat thing to be curved if it is straightening out. Shut up. If it is straightening out curves, or it should show Blackpool to have a curve to it. And
No,
it
it
doesn't.
shouldn't, Brian.
Not the
It is
elevation profile though, Brian. They're right about that.
nonsense.
Hold on, let me see if I can explain. The elevation profile is just it's just built off the distance up or above or below sea level. So all they're doing is mapping it to their model. Now,
it's flat.
In reality, I think it's easy to do that because the Earth is a fucking plane, but
it's flat.
Still works on their model.
Follow the curve.
Why are the mountains lower than the tower then?
But again, Brian, the
doesn't
elevation map doesn't give a
the
shit about
curve,
man-made objects, though.
then
That's the point.
It should be shown in Google Earth to have an up curve.
It
Shouldn't
shouldn't.
You're familiar with
Yes,
the
it
difference
should,
between elevation
because
and
you
curve?
say it straightens out the
You're
curvature.
conflating elevation and curve. Once again, this is the typical.
Hold on, we're almost there. We're almost there. Brandon did
No,
it
we're not
live.
almost
Hold on,
there, you
Brian,
cunt.
Brian,
Don't
hold on.
feed
I'm
me
gonna
your
explain
bullshit.
it because Brandon did it
I
live.
do not want your fucking bullshit.
I know. Maybe Brandon can extrapolate, but
I'm
Brandon did
muting
it.
ya.
Brandon did it live.
Can't listen to that fucking idiot anymore.
Brandon, can you tell him
He's
what you did with the
a lying
building?
piece of shit.
Yeah,
I'm
he's telling
sorry.
the truth. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Brandon did it
He's
live.
probably a government fucking agent that is here to keep
prob-
us in this
prob-
load
probably.
of bollocks.
Brandon, you did it live where you put the
that's okay.
cursor over the
We
building,
know that.
and then you did it over the ground, right? And then it was the same elevation. Can you explain to Brian that man-made objects won't alter the elevation profile?
Bio, it is over. Your
What we need to
bullshit
do is we
is
need
no
to go.
longer.
We need to go to LIGO, the one that's down in Louisiana that has the canal running next to it, and we need to determine the offset, like we figured out a couple weeks ago, and we charted out. Now, I did say that I was going to contact them, and I haven't done that yet. So
You realize that the tube.
He's proven himself
the
to
elevation
be
of the
a
tube is not
government
what's important
fucking
here, right?
agent.
yeah,
I
we know there's.
contacted
But
them.
listen, it may not even be government, but yes, we know there are fucking agents in here. We know that.
I contacted them, Brandon. You want to know what they said?
What'd they say?
I called someone in the control room, asked to talk to a supervisor. He said, "Well, there's nobody here. Supervisor's here, but I'm in control of the control room right now." It's okay. I asked him if he was an engineer. He said he wasn't. He didn't. Arms were more on at the time. I asked him if and he said yes. Before I could ask him another question, he said, you can go to the beach and watch boats go over a curve, right?
Oh my God.
I kid you not. That's exactly
Already
how
been
the
filmed.
conversation
That's
went.
exactly right.
I asked him
already
one
been
question about if the arm was horizontal. I didn't say anything about Earth curve or anything about a debate. I asked him about the horizontal arm. He said, yes, they are horizontal. And oh, by the way, I can go to the beach and watch boats go over the Earth curve. Was his immediate response
You
after
think
that.
you're the first idiot who's called him, Rakia?
Hey, pay NASA
Right,
Shield.
well,
What if I
Ben,
called your supervisor and asked him what year you were refueling the SR-71? What would he say? Yeah, I bet you won't.
Because he doesn't know. But you think you're the
Yeah,
first.
I bet he don't know because you don't have a supervisor. Just go on mute, pay NASA Shield. I don't talk to liars.
Like I said, do you think you're the
I
first?
do not talk to liars. Are you talking to me?
If you want to talk about liars, do you talk to
Yeah, let's
percentage?
talk
Who's
about
lying?
B-ball taking horizon pictures and squashing them.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
How about you think you're the
Clown
first?
shit.
Yeah, why? Hey,
What
about
a
that, Bob,
clown
hold on.
show.
Hang
What
on,
a
hang on, about
group.
that. About
Biodual, B-ball for life, and paid NASA Shield. Our local SR-71 refueler, Air Force pilot for however many years, Pan Am pilot. How many degrees you got?
Let's
Several.
distract from the conversation. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not distracting anything. I said I don't talk to liars.
About as opposed to you.
It shows that you've been on forums. You told us where you went. You go on forums and listen to the answers. And you've listened for a while, for years, you said. You've been on these forums, and now you know
you're surprised
everything there
that
is
the guy
to know
at
about
LIGO
all these
knew
pilots.
you were a flirt, right?
Doesn't make you
You're
an Air
surprised the guy at
Force
LIGO
pilot.
knew where you were going, huh? You don't think
we get away from this?
Do you think this is the only group that is called LIGO and ask them if they're flat?
That matter. I'm just telling you what happened.
Yeah, I know. You knew exactly where you were going.
So
You
you're
knew what
making
the
an
next question
excuse, like Globers do, like lying Globers do all the time.
Flat earthers think they know more than physicists. You think they're lying about the construction. You guys are sitting here
And then
arguing
the phone
about,
call.
oh, is it flat? Is it curved? When
you know you can go to the beach and see a boat go over Earth curve.
Yep.
Do you really? Can you show me that?
Yep. That's
That is
exactly
an ignorant thing to say.
Can you show me a boat going over Earth curve?
Yeah, the ancient Greeks figured that out a long time ago,
Hang
Rock.
on, hang on,
Yeah, they sure did. They were wrong.
No, they weren't. They were 100% right.
Can you show it to me? Can you measure that Earth curve that boat's going over?
That's
Sure.
like day
Show
two
me,
shit.
show me that video where you measured.
Yeah,
Show me that
let's
video.
focus on how it was
Hey,
built.
B-Ball, you got an auto level. Have you measured Earth curve yet, sir?
Let's
Yeah, I
build
measured it.
exactly
I
what
measured
you're
Earth
doing.
curve.
Where's that video of physical
I
Earth
measured Earth
curve
curve.
measurement?
I measured Earth curve. You could have done it too. The
I bet
equinoxes
you
take
haven't
time too.
measured. You calculated
Hey,
Earth
hey,
curve.
shout out to
Remember,
you,
they're
Brian, for
measuring
doing this, though.
gravitational waves. They can care less about the
Same
shape of the
difference.
Earth.
Yeah, I bet they don't. That's why he said I could go to a beach
Mhm.
and see Earth curve by a ship going over it.
Yeah,
You
because
By
he knows
asking
where
if,
you were
if
doing.
the
He
arm
knew
of
exactly.
LIGO was
He knew
horizontal.
your next question. He knew your
Y'all are
next question.
morons.
He's smarter than you. He knew your next
Yeah, he's
question.
smarter than me. Yeah, y'all are morons.
Yeah, Lucas talking. The guy who thinks
All right,
the
B-Ball,
algorithm is
you made that video of measuring, creating a horizontal over static water and measuring down drop. You made that video yet, B-Ball?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you stick to putting concrete in the ground and leave physics alone, Rakia?
That shows how stupid you are thinking I'm a concrete finisher. That just shows how gullible and stupid you are.
You're a concrete
Hey,
guy.
Brandon,
Brandon, you're a
Brandon.
concrete guy.
Rakia, things drop
You have
below eye
no
level.
idea who I am.
Brandon, can you pull up that photo with the two red beams with the horizon? Brian made a good point, and I want to show it to Peggy.
Brian made a good point.
Hold
and
on
I
a
doubt
minute.
it.
So I'm
Yes,
still going to
he did.
contact LIGO and see if they'll let us in there, because that's what we need to do. Did you ask them
No,
if they would
they
let us in there to?
You don't even need to go inside. You just need to get up to the tube on the outside with a
There's nobody at the
anything,
guard
I
gate,
know.
Jeremy.
On the property.
There was
On the property.
nobody at the guard gate. You could have just drove on in. There was no guard at the guard gate.
Really?
Isn't that like $1 billion facility or some shit? There's just
Yeah, but
nobody.
it's
You
down
can just walk.
It's in a small town and a little bitty like podunk town, Livingston Parish.
Still though.
What's the
It's down on Lonesome Road. There's no guard gate. There's only one little arm over the entrance. The exit doesn't have an arm. And LIGO's right there. It's not 200 yards away.
Preferable than
How about you?
them
How
like
about Rakia? How about you
going
get in
crazy
contact
over
with the
guarding it.
construction firm that built it? Maybe they'll be able to tell you.
Yeah,
Maybe
how about
not.
I get in contact with
Maybe
the
not.
concrete people that are doing stress tests and go with them and do some measurements? How about
you guys,
that?
you guys can take a tour. They have monthly.
How about
like,
you measure
tours.
Earth, B-Ball? How about you
We don't-
worry about yourself?
We need to do measurements. We've already described what we want to
Show
do.
us that video.
Thank you very much.
We don't need to go take a tour of LIGO and
Could we
see a
enjoy-
vending
Man, learn
machine or
something.
go to Antarctica and pet a penguin.
Yeah, you might
I know you
learn
guys want to do
something,
dumb shit,
What?
but
Yeah, you want
What
to
is it?
do
What
anything.
is it they do
you guys
there?
want to do dumb shit.
Yeah,
You
you
guys
don't
know
actually
what
they
do
do there?
anything, do you there?
Tell you how stupid LIGO
Tell you how
is.
stupid this guy
They're
is.
shut down to the public because of the virus.
Curved or not?
What
But
is
you-
it
but you're not
they
gonna
are
deal with the
allegedly
fact that they're
doing
measuring
there?
Guys, you guys are all talking at the same time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Brandon.
The public can't go into LIGO
they're
because
all
of the
spiraling.
shutdown.
What
Yeah,
is
man.
it they allegedly do there?
Oh yeah, we're spiraling. Sorry.
What
It's funny
is it
how
they
LIGO
allegedly
makes them do that.
What's the
What
problem?
do they do there, Dave?
They measure gravity.
No, they don't.
Measure
They
gravity.
measure
No.
gravity.
That's
No.
not what they
So
do.
what the hell are they doing there?
What?
What
What they're
content
doing-
hell are we
$1
in?
facility.
Get them
Right?
out of
Exactly what they're
here!
doing.
What they're doing in
They
LIGO
find a
is
ding
absolutely
on their screen and say,
It's a few
look, there's a black
billion-dollar
hole.
Hey guys,
They're
with
just
no guards.
the audience
Yeah.
can't hear anything.
What a
'cause
waste.
Everyone is talking over
Yeah, this
each
is the
other.
lasers down a tube. Is that what you think?
Yeah, everybody's a bit
Sorry, I'm sorry,
passionate.
Brandon. My bad.
Yeah, y'all should have a little
Yeah.
respect for the show.
Measure gravity.
They're measuring gravity.
No.
Yes. Then how they measure
We
gravity?
know gravity doesn't exist, don't
No,
we?
we
No,
actually
you don't know
gravity
that.
does exist.
Yes, we do,
No,
because
you don't.
not everything falls down.
Yep.
Some things go up.
Yep, just
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
We
I wanted to ask
know
Rakia something quick,
that
though.
gravity is a complete and utter fake
We know that
situation.
you are
So
complete and utter
what
fake.
we are
before we move to
probably
gravity,
looking at,
hold on. Brian,
what we
before
are
we move to
probably looking at is where the
Brian?
English had their blow-up tanks. This is exactly the same. It is just that's why there was only one
Oh,
guy
you
out there,
fuck guy.
Dave.
Hey, before we move to gravity, Brian,
That's
before
all
we
it
move
is.
to gravity, let me
Just
ask
when you
Rakia
think
something
Brian,
about LIGO.
just when you think Brian has hit an all-time low, he comes up with something
Shut up for a
new.
second, Paige. While I got Rakia. Rakia, what was my access to the, Rakia, what was my access to the tubes, man? What was my access to the concrete tubes? How far did I have
access the whole length?
The tube starts about a couple hundred yards from the guard gate. It's right there. You can see it.
And is the canal?
The build-
How fucked up is the canal?
Well, one of them is pretty filled in.
What does the canal
One
have
of
to
them's
do?
pretty overgrown.
It's something to measure the water against.
Yeah,
Something to measure the tube
water's
against.
flat, right?
They filled
What
the
does the
canal
canal
out
have to
because
do?
they know it proves its fucking level.
Guys, seriously, if you hear somebody else talking, please just
Holy
slow down.
crap!
guys. Fuck.
Just a bunch of triggered flat earthers. What is the canal? What does the canal have to do with anything?
I hear about 4 globers spiraling.
You want to take control of this?
And
or?
Dave.
Glober spiraling? No, the flare
Well,
are
it's
spiraling.
supposed to be Friday Night Fight, but at least fucking don't talk over each other 4 at the same time. Just chill the fuck out.
Agreed. Can I say something about LIGO real quick before they start spiraling again? I want to say something about LIGO. If I got access, I'll go check it. If there's water in the canal, that'll make it definitive. I want to say something to B-Ball. Now, if you take your auto level and you start going down the shoreline, you're going to measure it flat, okay? It's going to give you a 0 elevation all the way down. But what they tell you is that you don't know it, but you're shooting around a curve, okay? That's what that's the excuse. So you're not going to measure the curvature itself. They're going to tell you are without knowing it.
How far does the auto level work to?
So if LIGO's tube matches the water, they're fucked.
What does the water on the outside of the building have to do with what's going on inside the building? Nothing.
What do you know about inside the building, Brenda? Do you know anything
We don't have
about
time
LIGO?
for trolls, Brenda.
Look who's talking.
You asked the question, Brenda. That
SC
means
Montreal, like,
you
you know
assume
anything,
we assume
sir.
that you
Can you
think
let him
you know
address
something
the
about
question?
LIGO. What do you know about LIGO?
What do you know about LIGO, SE?
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking
Of
to
course
Brenda, who was referencing it to, against the water. I'm curious what Brenda knows
Brenda
about
asked the
LIGO.
question. Let us
I just asked a
answer it.
question.
Hold on, somebody's got a horrible echo going. Who is it?
That's usually Brian, but maybe not him.
Yeah.
All I did is ask a question. I don't see
Mic check.
what any.
It's
Jeremy?
you, Brenda. Brenda, you're echoing.
I'll put headphones on. Fine.
In order for you to understand the answer, Brenda, you have to have some knowledge of what LIGO is and what it does.
Yeah, you have, in order to have some idea, you have to take your brain out of your head and realize.
Now, when they built LIGO, I guarantee you, when they built LIGO, they were given a benchmark. The contractor was given a benchmark, a area to start at, an elevation to start at, a 0 point, and that they can't seem to find. Okay, and then from there, they measured everything else from there. So they would measure out horizontally. Okay, of what y'all would call curve normally. You'd say that that horizontal is curving around the ball, but we don't know it. That's why we want to test it.
So Brian,
let him respond.
Brian, what does the inside of the building have to do with the outside of the building?
So, Brenda, what do you know about the inside of the building in order for you to ask that question? Why are you asking that question? Do you have any clue what's inside of the building?
Yes, we know what's inside the building. Brian.
Is your name
If
Brenda?
that concrete slab is off by, if that concrete slab is off by 3 3/4 feet, okay, over 2.5 miles or a little over 2 miles. If they missed it by 4 fucking feet, then I think we'd notice that, don't you? Why are you making excuses before we even measure?
What would the outside of the building tell you about the floor of the inside of the building? What would it
Who's
tell
got the fucked up mic? It's B-ball.
Brenda, name me one function of LIGO. Go.
I'm just asking a question.
I'm just asking a question. You asked a question, Brian answered. Now I'm asking you a question. Name me one function of LIGO. Preferably, maybe how the mirrors work.
I don't care.
You don't care because you don't know nothing.
What do you know about
You are
LIGO?
just like Rumpus.
What do you know about LIGO?
You're here to
You memorize some
obfuscate.
shit about LIGO. You don't understand it.
Oh, I'm waiting for Rumpus to come in. Hey, Rumpus, if you're listening, we need to talk.
I just want to know.
So, Brenda, you know nothing about.
So I'll put it differently.
You know absolutely nothing about
Be
LIGO.
quiet.
Shut up,
Be quiet.
Montreal. Let her talk.
What do the ponds? What does the water?
What do you know about LIGO, Brenda, in order for you to be in this conversation about LIGO? Please answer us.
She knows more than you do, Montreal.
What does the
Answer
pond
her
water
question.
outside the building have to do with the floor inside the building? What do they have to do with each
Allow
other?
me to answer that, please. Allow me to answer that. Okay. Now, if they claim that the foundation is flat, okay, and it's a bunch of connected tubes, okay, if it's off at the end by 4 foot, if them tubes are off by almost 4 foot from one end to the other, we'll be able to demonstrate that, and then you can take without even going inside, without even looking at the inside, unless you're going to tell me unless she's going to tell me that the tubes, if the tubes are different sizes or some shit, connecting together to make that straight line, then you'd have an argument, but they'd have to be bigger.
Okay, Brian. Okay, I
How
understand.
will she tell
I
you
understand.
that she
Just a
doesn't
minute,
know
Brian.
anything
Just a
about
minute.
the inside?
So could I, Brian? Could I put a stick at one end? Could I put a stick at one end of the LIGO arm and another stick at the other, and draw a string perfectly straight between them, even if the floor is not perfectly level? Could I
Can I
do
respond
that?
to this, please? Let's not forget that some of your people have used the shadows coming off the tube as proof that LIGO's straight. So
Jeremy, can't you
I'm
see
not
what's
aware
going
of
on
that.
here? She's
Yeah,
playing.
so I mean,
you
if you're
guys.
about to argue that the tubes
Well,
aren't
Montreal,
straight,
you don't know
you're going
shit
against.
anyway. So this
She
stuff
is
fuck up
playing
so
you.
well.
She doesn't know nothing. Ask her a question about it.
Could
Brenda,
I?
what color is the laser beam?
It's puce.
What difference does it
It's purple with polka dots. So
You
could
see what I mean?
Yeah.
She
could
doesn't have
I-
a clue.
It
You
doesn't
don't have a
matter.
clue, sir. You've memorized
Could
some
I-
bullshit.
Brenda, what kind of
This is your
atmosphere is
typical,
inside the
typical
tube
Tessie Montreal
LIGO?
has memorized some
Let me say
trivia
something.
about this thing.
Hey,
I think
hey,
she
I
knows
bet you
everything
folks-
about it.
Hold on, hey,
Everybody's
hold on,
fired all the
hey.
time.
Hold on, let me say one more thing.
Chill.
Let me say one more thing real quick. I bet you any amount of money, anybody, for the rest of the show, the only thing you'll hear out of Paid Nasa Shill is insults. Nothing, no facts, no rebuttals, just insults.
He hasn't said
Nothing
nothing
about
about
that. She will not say one thing. You know why? She doesn't know nothing about
You've
LIGO.
memorized some trivia, Montreal. What does LIGO
You've
do,
done nothing,
Montreal?
Kate. That's still an insult. You have not said anything about LIGO, nothing about horizontal, nothing about the vision of how we see things over long distances. You've said nothing.
You guys don't understand.
Yeah,
what
you're
doing.
useless, Pitts.
All right, let me read these super chats. I don't think I'm going to get a break here. JQ, $5. I love the way Brian pronounces TWA. TW. Oh, twat. God bless the Brits. Thank you, JQ. And JQ, $2. Thanks, JQ. Brender has a 75 IQ. Yeah, she's something, that's for sure.
Cool, SR-71. I'm all ears, buddy. You're the expert here.
Yeah, what are you the
Otherwise,
expert in? Concrete?
shut
But so
up.
you're talking about physics.
I can
You're talking about
explain you a
physics, all
lot of
know is
stuff about
concrete.
LIGO if you like.
I'm talking about what
No,
I
you
like.
know about the trivia about it.
Would you
You know
like to?
trivia.
You've
Hey guys,
learned
I got a
about.
question if I can interrupt for a second.
Please.
Okay. Earlier, someone was talking about the elevation profile and how it wouldn't matter if it was flat or a globe. And I missed the explanation of why. I was wondering if someone could just tell me.
Because if it matches the water, because if LIGO matches the water, then they got problems because they say LIGO straight. So if the LIGO tube matches the water, then the water's flat.
That was me. That was I think it was me.
Yeah,
though,
but that's not
that
true.
explained.
Just because
Mine
there's
would
water,
actually do.
just because there's
Right.
water outside, it doesn't tell you anything
Okay,
about
Brenda,
the
let
I made the claim.
building
I'll
on the
explain.
inside.
I'll explain. I
Okay,
made the claim.
Brenda, great.
Okay.
Let Bio explain.
Right. So it doesn't matter what the shape is. When you have your reference as sea level, the shape of the earth doesn't matter because your elevation chart will just show elevation change from that reference. So if you have a mountain, if you have a ditch, if you have different things going on, if it deviates from sea level, it's going to show up on the chart. But the shape of that object, it doesn't matter.
So why would
No, that's incorrect.
why
That's
would-
absolutely incorrect.
No,
Why
that's
wouldn't
for an
it matter on the
elevation
globe?
profile. He's 100%
I want to hear what he has to
Absolutely
say.
incorrect.
I want to hear what Rodney has to say real quick.
Yeah, let Rodney respond.
It's not. It's 100% correct. He's talking
Let
about
Rodney
elevation.
respond.
Let Rodney.
Let
Rodney
Rodney
seems sensible. Go
respond.
ahead.
Rodney, go ahead.
I was just wondering why they said it wouldn't matter on the globe. Like, what's your explanation
Oh,
for that?
it'll show the same thing. So if we can create a spherical Earth and a flat Earth, with all the same features that we have, all the same coordinates, everything like that, the elevation profiles of the same area would look the same on an elevation profile.
Based on, I mean, what's that based on the globe model then?
Because the
What's
elevation
sea level?
profile, the elevation
The sea
profile is
level-
just an
sea
elevation
level
profile. So the reference would be the same on each. So on a flat Earth, your reference would be sea level. That'll be your 0. And on a globe Earth, it would be 0 at sea level as well. So any deviation from sea level would show up on the elevation chart profile.
Right.
Do you know what an elevation profile is?
Brenda,
Shut up, Brenda.
quiet.
What's the sea level based on the globe model that you're talking about, though? That's the part I'm
The
confused
sea.
about.
It would most likely be the most local sea or great body of water, most likely.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
So,
don't they count it as the distance from the center of the sphere?
Right. That's
No.
one way to look at it, but the
From the
easiest.
geoid.
Right.
No,
the
that
easiest,
is not
The easiest way would
how
be
you get
the
elevation.
great body of water. That'd be the easiest way.
No, not elevation.
Because
I'm talking about
on the
sea
globe
level.
model, I won't say in reality, even though I hold that position. On the globe model, there are different radiuses. The radius that we give to you is the average, essentially.
Right, but don't they
What?
raise sea level as the distance from the center of the sphere?
It'll just be sea level. You don't base sea level distance from the center of the sphere, because then you'd come up with something other than sea level, so you wouldn't call it sea level.
So can I ask you a
elevation has
question, if I
nothing.
may? So the z-axis isn't distance measured to the center of the globe.
It'll be depending on what you're talking about. If you're talking about sea level, the reference is the sea level.
Well, sea level, like is in, like y'all were talking about with the elevation profiles and LIGO. It's
Mean sea level, average sea level.
right. I mean, I know on a flat Earth it's based on actual observation and measurements, but on the globe model, are you saying it's the exact same sea level?
Nobody's ever measured the flat Earth.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. For the sake of argument, yes.
The only
It's
thing
based
they
on
haven't measured.
based on measurements. Yes.
What do you mean they haven't measured the flat Earth?
Just ignore
No,
the bait.
don't entertain Brenda.
Don't take the bait.
Brenda.
So, Bio, let me ask you a question. Can you have a hump or a drop without
There's no hump on
elevation
Earth.
change?
What do you mean there's no hump? So you're
There
telling me
absolutely is a hump. It's called the Sagitta.
Nope.
You actually have
Brenda,
really stupid,
if you have
SD.
Did you guys
people
catch my
sitting on
full
the front-
question? Because I think I broke up.
You've been explaining this thousands of times.
The name for the hump on the globe is called the name for the globe, the hump on the globe is called the Sagitta. There absolutely is a hump. They even have a name for it. So you're wrong.
That's where their boats disappeared from, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, the hump, the Sagitta, yeah.
The hump. Yep.
That's not what a hump is.
The fact is that the elevation profile is a two-dimensional graph to the
But you guys didn't answer my question, though. I asked to Bio, can you have a hump?
Yeah, we can
or a
stay on
drop?
point. See it.
Can I please get my question out to Bio? Thank you. Bio, can we have a hump or a drop without elevation change?
No, you couldn't. Because everything but a
Welcome to level and
hold on.
horizontal
I know.
water.
It's fun. It's fun for mantras. So let me explain.
Beautiful,
when you have a hump or a drop, what you're saying essentially is a change from some type of reference. So if you're at eye level, or let's just say sea level, if you have a hump that deviates from sea level, that's an elevation change. If you have a drop from sea level, that's an elevation change. So obviously.
Okay, because can I give a demonstration? Okay, so
Oh,
if you have
welcome.
two people.
Well,
So if
hold
you have
on.
two people-
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
Welcome
Yeah, no Earth curve.
to level and horizontal.
No, curvature is
No,
not
that's not what he's saying, you moron. You
Yeah, I'm
know
not
it.
saying that at all.
Shut your
Yeah,
face,
curvature-
Paige. Shut your
curvature is
face.
not a
Not
hump.
what he's saying. You're misinterpreting him once again.
Shut
Purposely
up,
misquoting him.
Brenda and Paige. Shut up. It's not between you.
Bio, if I have two people 180 degrees from each other horizontal and they're 10 miles away, there won't be a hump in between them?
If you draw a chord line from one person to the other, there will be a quote unquote hump. I wouldn't call it a hump because that implies an elevation change. So I wouldn't call
What
it
would
that.
you call it?
No,
Curvature.
he would
I
call it a
curvature.
Sagitta.
What would you call it?
What
He would call it a
what I would
Sagitta.
further explain. Well, yeah, Jeremy, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying you would call it a Sagitta. That's true.
Yeah, that's fine.
Call it again?
Go ahead, Bio.
So if I could further explain, if I know what this is Montreal's stupid ass paradox thing. So if both observers 10 miles away, they're looking in the direction of each other. So let's just call it west is looking at one, east is looking at the other. They're in the direction of looking at each other. If you draw a tangent line from each, those tangent lines will intersect without ever touching the Earth. So if you would draw a chord line, yes, you're going to have a space of Earth that resides above that. When you have two tangent lines, each reference on each other's
that the tangent has to
those
touch
tangent
the
lines
sphere,
will
right?
intersect
Idiot.
with each other.
You know that
what
the
a
tangent has
tangent
to
is,
touch
first of
the
all?
sphere, right?
That's why I'm saying each one, if you build a horizontal in respect to your eye level, that's essentially going to be your tangent line, because that tangent line won't touch anything on the Earth. It's just going through your vision. So that's why I'm saying if both build a tangent line to each other, those are going to intersect to each other at a point, but they're not going to be at the same horizontal line.
I asked you about the water. Is there a hump?
I specified
Between the
very
two
clearly.
poles, or is there a drop?
I specified very clearly, Montreal. If you build a line, if you have 2 points, 2 people, 10 miles apart like this, and you build a line from point to point, that's going to be your Sagitta. So you can call it a hump if that helps you build it in your mind. That's fine. I wouldn't call it a hump because there's no elevation change.
Okay, what you're saying is we have a Sagitta. We have a straight line to a hump, but we both see level. You're saying?
Yes.
Are you
because
well,
you're
sir?
sphere,
Are you okay?
Because you're stupid.
Shut up,
Paige.
Shut up, Paige.
Yeah, this is Montreal and his stupid not being able to see in 3 dimensions.
Wow. You realize what you said, Bio?
Yes, and I was very, very clear about what I said.
Yeah, a Sagitta is a line connecting the base of an arc with the top of the arc.
This is funny.
Which makes a hump.
I love
I'll draw a pretty picture. It's
obvious.
obvious.
You guys can't think in 3 dimensions. It's not my problem.
That's not a hump, though. It's not a hump.
Look at a picture of a Sagitta.
Let's say we
and then
put
look
a third boat and a fourth boat. What happens?
No, I'm going to draw a pretty
a
picture of what I mean
hell?
because it seems like
Does a whirlpool start? What happens?
It seems like very detailed, very detailed explanations doesn't work. So I'm going to draw a pretty picture. I know what your paradox is. So I'm going to build what I'm explaining.
Let's see a picture.
Bio is an optimist. He thinks that rational is going to work.
Well, no, it's pretty pictures now. I thought rational was going to work.
Brenda,
but now
you're
it's pretty
delusional.
Let's
You're
see the
delusional.
picture
You talk
for
about
talking.
donuts.
I'm building it right now.
So I wouldn't talk.
In the meantime, Brenda, how much time is in a cubic meter? Yes or no?
Of a donut.
The time it takes to get there.
Yeah.
But if it's chocolate and vanilla, does it have different density?
If I say how far away is the convenience store, I could say, oh, it's just 10 minutes away.
All right. Well, Biodual is creating his.
And you won't have answered the question.
His
because
diagram.
time
Here.
isn't
Let me
distance.
show you
No, it
this
doesn't answer the
diagram
question.
that I've
No, it doesn't.
made.
Yeah, it is.
You will have answered an entirely separate question that isn't related to that one.
That's just wrong. Time is distance.
No, it's not. No, I would say that's not the question. No,
Okay, Brandon was trying to say something.
No. Then the response is, I didn't ask you how long it would take. I asked you how far it was.
Yeah, how far it is. It's 10 minutes away. That's
no, I didn't ask you. No, I
that's
didn't
not how
ask
far it
you
is.
how far away.
Sure it
I didn't
is.
ask you.
That's
No,
how
no.
long it will take to get there.
Time is distance.
And then,
Time is
and even
distance.
then, you'd have to ask, well, what speed are you going to get there in that amount of time?
You've never
time
traveled in the
time
city
is
of New York,
distance.
have you?
Time is distance.
So what if I get to the store in 2 minutes?
Somebody's writing this
Does that
down,
debunk you?
we're going out to
please,
YouTube.
please,
Okay,
go-
never
go
mind.
for
His
it.
retardation is going out to everybody.
You've never
He thinks that
been in
time
the
is
city,
distance.
right?
Time
I
is
will
not just.
happily repeat it. I will happily repeat it for you slowly
Please don't.
and carefully.
Of course you
I
will.
am a real.
Time is
I
You're a
am.
moron
I
if you
am.
think that.
I am
Time
a real woman. I am.
time.
I am.
Time is partly a measure of distance.
No, it's not.
Oh,
now it's even
No,
a little
it's
tiny
not.
bit.
Now
No.
it's partly.
I've lived in New York.
Yes,
for a
it's
long
not.
time.
Other
Just
parts,
like you are not a
talk
woman
about how-
at
how
all,
long
even
it
a little
takes you
tiny
to get
bit.
places.
That's fine. That's fine. There are other
Brenda,
parts.
you said like 4 times, Brenda, that it is.
That time
Right.
is
Right.
distance.
You
So
did.
Now
the
you're
other
saying
parts,
partly.
the other parts are the real world coordinates. It's x, y, z plus time.
Just to clarify, you wouldn't have answered the question at all, even a little tiny bit.
No, I did answer it.
So
Time.
No.
so when it's
Just said time
when
you
It's
did.
not.
Brenda, when it's noon, what's the distance?
That was
To
good.
where? To where?
It's 12 o'clock speed.
If I have 1 hour, how much distance do I have?
1 hour speed.
Well, this is from people who can't figure out how sticks work.
Do you know how sticks
Yeah,
work?
that-
Brenda?
How tall is
Do you?
I
that
don't think
tree?
you know
Oh,
how-
it's about 10 minutes. It's about 10 minutes tall.
Yeah.
I don't even know how a shadow works.
Yeah. No, it couldn't. It super couldn't be, because that's not
Yeah,
how
it
time
could
works.
be. Yeah,
Nope,
sure it
it
is.
could.
10 minutes
It
tall.
literally could not.
If it
I'm gonna
takes you
call a
10
guy to get
minutes,
some. I'm gonna call a guy to get some trees removed. When he asks how tall the trees are, I'm gonna tell him, by 10, 11 minutes, give or take.
well, if you call him and he said, and you ask him, how far away are you? He could say, oh, I'm just 10 minutes away.
I would say I didn't
Yeah, he
ask
could
you
say
how
that.
long
You're
it
right.
take.
He could say that. And he would not
Yes.
be answering the question. He would
Yes,
be
he
answering
would.
a different question entirely.
it's
but he
just-
could, yes, in reality, say that very thing. And he
Yes.
would not be answering the question.
No, it's just a different part of the equation.
No, he's not answering the question. He's answering
It's
an
a
entirely
nonsense
separate question
answer.
that isn't the one that was asked.
If you call somebody and they tell you, I'm 10 minutes away, right?
Then
They
you don't
told
know
you-
the distance they are away. You know
Sure you
how much
do.
time it might take them
Yes, you
in their
do.
estimation
Are we going
to get to you.
So are we doing this
Yes, you
by
do.
bicycling or a car drive or a jetpack, or how are we doing this?
Oh, those would all be known variables, wouldn't they?
So the amount of time in a cubic meter depends on
They would be
your mode of
known
transportation.
Apparently, according to this guy, the distance between you and some other place is going to change depending on your mode of travel.
It's going to
It's an
depend.
incorrect
Yes.
answer.
It's going to
Move
depend
on.
your
Yes,
speed.
She's wrong.
They
It's
say
going to
yes.
depend on your
Wow.
speed. Yes.
This is wild.
You're gonna fuck
literally
around
what
and end up.
That's
No,
literally
what-
what special relativity says, is that the
gonna
distance
depend on their
does
speed.
depend on the speed.
He thinks it's going
Yes.
to depend
Well,
on
you
your
got,
speed.
That's
Wow.
literally what special
Oh, so
relativity
it's
says.
speed now, not just
So if I
time,
could
huh?
travel, at the speed of light, it would be what? Zero distance?
Yes.
Anything?
Yes.
Everything.
No.
Yes.
Everything in the universe
Teleportation.
would just be
Yes.
zero.
Not only
Yes, it would.
are they
I
claiming
can't
that,
believe
that
you guys are
going at
entertaining
the
this.
speed of
Oh, you're
light
gonna
might allow
fuck
you
around
time
and end up
travel,
on the
but it's
next
also
Opti
going to
clip
allow
talking this shit.
teleportation. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
time
you're not
travel,
under-
teleportation. What else you got?
Well,
you got
travel.
25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75 mile an hour speed limits.
So you travel in
So if
time.
somebody
just
tells
standing-
you the
just standing
time, it has nothing
just-
to do with the distance, Brenda. Get over it.
Yes, it does. So if you're just sitting in your
Well,
chair,
you got to give them all the different speeds,
Hold
and
on,
then they got to
let her
mathematically
respond.
figure it
James,
out.
James,
And you
let
could
her
have just
respond.
answered
James,
it correctly.
James,
It's
let her
okay.
respond.
so just sitting in your chair, you are traveling in time.
That's your story.
Or you don't think you're moving
boy.
in time just sitting there?
Here we go again.
No,
I like
you're
to
not
know
moving
It's a
in time.
concept.
Time is a
You're-
concept.
No, you're traveling in
it is.
time as you
Maybe
sit
you
there.
are.
You don't think you're getting older every second?
Y'all know
I
can
think there's a
see
lot of
the
things that you
smirk
think
on
are
Brenda's
different
face
that
talking
aren't
all
part
this
of
shit.
reality.
Older,
He's got you
Brenda, getting
all
older
triggered.
and traveling are two different things.
Getting older is moving.
And traveling are two different
Yes.
things.
No, getting
No, it's
older
not.
is traveling in time.
No, it's
No.
not.
Yes, it is.
Nope, that's
You're just
Everybody-
you're just
everybody
aging
is
because
traveling
you're just aging because entropy. You're just
yeah,
aging because decay.
that's
Has nothing to do with time.
Yes, it does.
Nope.
No,
Entropy has everything to do with time.
no,
What are you talking about?
no, it doesn't.
Yes, it
Why
does.
Because it's
Why are
No,
we
it
even letting him
doesn't.
talk?
time
This
causes
is
entropy.
ridiculous.
Time
No,
causes
doesn't-
entropy.
Time doesn't cause entropy, but time is a function. within.
You could say it's in there, but
it
it's
takes
irrelevant.
time. It takes time, right, for things to decay. They decay because of entropy.
How much time would it take for the gas?
Brenda, what is
Go
the
ahead.
distance? If you said
Brenda.
time is distance, and what the hell's the distance for that?
If you was eternal, Brenda, right, and you didn't decay, there would still be entropy.
Maybe,
right?
but not with
So
me.
it's-
Not with
you
me.
What'd you
say
say,
that it's-
Stacy? I don't think they heard you.
If I don't, yeah, I didn't. So if
Yeah,
I
go
don't,
ahead.
if
Wait,
I'm
well,
not,
then let her ask, Brenda.
oh, sure, fine. Just
Go ahead,
go
Stacy.
ahead.
Stacy.
I don't hear
Yo.
anything.
I'm
She's
sorry
lighting
about that. No, you were sitting there saying time is distance, and you're talking about decay and humans and stuff. So what is the distance for that?
For my
Of
decay,
what?
yeah.
What is the distance of what?
The decay.
What are you talking about?
Getting old, aging.
I don't know.
What's the distance?
Distance,
Who said
yeah.
that was a
What's the
distance?
distance?
Who said
If
that
time
was
is
a
You said
distance,
time is distance.
and
What is the
decay,
distance? That's what she's
She got a
asking.
good point.
What's the distance?
Ooh, I like
that
that.
was a
Oh,
good
you're
one,
always
Stacy.
traveling. You're always traveling through
What's the
time
distance?
at a constant
What's the
rate,
distance
right?
that you traveled?
It's
30,
within your within your light it's within your light cone.
My light cone.
Yes, within your light cone.
Really?
Are you serious, Brenda?
I like
Come
that.
on.
This is
This
good.
is
Good
this is
character right
like
here.
this
Can
is
we
like
measure that? And can we measure that with a dog bone?
no, you can measure it with light. Light it's a light cone is the amount of time that light would travel given your origin point, right?
And you're saying we can't measure that with a dog bone, or can we?
That doesn't have anything to do with this.
Well, are dog bones clocks? We're gonna need a clock
Of
for
course,
this, right?
of course they are. Of course they are.
So we can measure your light cone with a dog bone. Thanks, Dr.
potentially,
Seuss.
potentially, yes, potentially,
Right.
because they're basically.
And there you have it, folks. That's
They're
basically
basically-
delusional.
Well,
That's the definition of delusional in a nutshell.
This is
So you can
literally.
tell when somebody's gonna die. Then
Yep, delusion.
This
Can
is
we get
literally-
back to the thing there? Because Bio drew his
great.
picture.
This is
Yeah, go
literally.
ahead. My bad.
Just a minute. I just want to finish.
Psychotic.
Hold on, guys. Let
I
Brenda,
just want to
come on,
finish.
let Brenda wrap it up.
You know, I don't call you people names, and I let you finish.
You've had
your
your 10
sentences.
minutes of fame. We let you rant on about
Hold on,
your
let's let her.
shoe and bone.
Hold on, let her get a closing
So
statement.
this-
we did just
this-
clown her.
Right. The idea that space-time is physical, that we travel through time, and the ideas about special relativity at the elementary level of light cones, and the idea that radiometric dating is a clock. These are all high school concepts in physics.
Got it. Thank you,
Well, can
Brenda. Thank you.
That was awesome. Yeah.
radiometric
concept.
dating. So
High
you can
school
you can
concept.
date yourself
Why-
when you're
why are
gonna,
we
the exact
asking her
day
more
and time you're gonna
about
die.
what she just said?
You know the exact
Hold on.
time and date you're gonna die.
I
Hold
didn't
on.
say that.
Let's let Bio Duel go with his little pretty picture he's got here.
I'm just waiting for SE to
Oh my goodness!
say what his
Bio.
issue
That's
is.
not what I. That's not what I meant, Bio.
So what you see in the picture is not a hump.
Brenda,
It's curved.
Brenda, we're
That's
done
not
with
what
you,
I
Brenda.
meant, Bio.
We let
That's
you
not.
sum up. We're
I said
done.
a vertical. I said a horizontal, a level line.
And we're not. This
Straight
isn't for
line.
you. This is for SE.
It's the
I
same
think SE
question.
might have stepped out, Bio-Do, but I
the same
never got
question.
the answer. I think I cut out. What do you call the hump? I missed the answer. You said several times you don't call it hump. You would choose a different term.
Yeah,
What's the term?
that's how to tell you he was drawing a picture of was the hump or the drop.
No,
Right, right.
I'm drawing what we're seeing here because there's no elevation change. So I would not call it a hump. I only allowed it for SE so he can picture it in
Right.
his
So
mind
what do
what
you
I was
call
talking
it?
about.
What do you call it?
I would call that area between those two people, the area of Earth. I would call that the Sagitta.
Right, but if you draw a Sagitta, if you draw a chord line from their feet shore to shore, and the water is higher than that chord line, it would have to be, right? What do you call that difference in elevation?
Well, it's not a difference in elevation. It's going to be the same elevation throughout. That's why I don't call it a hump.
Well, it's higher than their feet, right?
No.
It's higher than the cord line from their feet to feet, Brenda. We're done with you.
Yes, higher than the cord line. You're right. Higher than the
what do
cord
you call
line,
that?
not
What do
higher
you
than the
call that?
seat.
Then what do you call that difference in height above the cord line, above their feet,
Oh yeah,
to
Sagitta.
the water?
So it's a hump.
So that
No, I wouldn't
part,
call it a hump. I think that a hump implies elevation change, so that's why I wouldn't use that word.
so that part from the Sagitta that's drawn in between their feet, halfway in between to the tallest point of whatever you're calling it, you call that Sagitta? That difference?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Biodual is a flat earther.
The outside of the circumference of that circle is all at the same elevation.
Elevation to what?
It's the same elevation.
Elevation from where?
Make her say it.
Elevation is measured from, in this case, on this figure, from the center of the circle.
Okay, thank you. We're done with you again.
Yeah, that's how you measure.
In reality, though,
Elevation, you're saying that zero is
level.
not sea level. 0 is the center of the earth. Is that what you're claiming?
That's what she's saying.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
sounds like that. What
it's
you're
the deviation.
claiming. So
it's the deviation.
How does Brenda get back in the conversation where just totally told her to wrap up? We're done. We're talking to Bio now about a specific, about his subject that he brought up. Why is Brenda butting in?
I don't think
So, Bio, to be clear, you're saying by this diagram that you drew here, sir, you're saying there's both a hump and a drop.
I have to be extremely clear. I would not use those words because both of those words imply an elevation change. So I would not use those words. I would use
what words?
I would use there is a drop due to curvature from your eye level. That's what I would say. Or I would say the what you are referring to as a hump. I understand what you're saying is a hump. What I would call that is the Sagitta, which is created by the cord line from person to person.
When you have two different people creating that cord line, which one is on the top of the ball?
There is no top.
There is no top now. I thought everyone was always on the top.
That's fine if you want to look at it that way. But I think if we complicate it and muddy the water with frames of reference frames, I think it's going to be way more complicated than it should be.
Which way is down? Which way is down, Rack?
So Biodual, no one is ever at the top. We're all always.
It all depends on what you're talking about. If I want to be,
we're talking about two viewers.
I understand. If I'm a viewer and you're a viewer, and I describe our situation, I would say I'm at the top of the earth and that you're below me. That's how I would describe it. But that's not how it is in reality, because in reality, no one is at the top. We just arbitrarily call something the top or bottom.
Where would I be in that observation as viewer two? Would I be not at the top?
Oh, if you want to describe it, you could say that you're at the top.
No, I'm asking you. How would you describe me as the second viewer? Would that be, since you're saying you would describe yourself as being at the top, would that mean that I'm not at the top?
From my reference frame, correct? Yeah.
What reference frame is that? At the top?
My own.
His reference frame. His reference.
Right. This is why I said we shouldn't introduce reference frames.
Yeah,
because we're going to muddy the water.
This is why we laugh at y'all.
Don't introduce anything that Rocky has to think about, okay?
This is why I named this the twin boat paradox, ladies and gentlemen.
Which direction? You are, SE.
Which direction?
But what if you were somebody on the outside looking in at both of the viewers with your own view? What would that? Who's on top then?
Which direction is down for those?
Brenda, in your nutcase model, down is wherever time's moving the fastest.
No, down. Which direction is down for?
Or it might be slow.
Whichever way the dog bone is decaying in over the top of
do you know?
Wherever the dog bone
I just told you. Whichever way the dog bone decays fastest due to distance of time.
So which direction is down?
You guys realize that
for each of those figures, for each of them, which direction is down?
Towards a viewer? Yeah, there's a bias towards down.
No, which direction is down?
It's opposite of up.
Say there's the one on the left and the one on the right. Which direction is down?
Well, I'm not looking at what you're doing. I'm not looking at what you're talking about.
I'm looking at Biodual's diagram with the blue
Let's simplify things,
section.
Brenda. You want to go back to 5th grade? The Earth was created a flat plane, and the Earth itself is where your feet are. That's down. Anything above that surface
I'm just talking
is up.
Except I'm talking about Biodual's diagram. Which
Well, then
direction
ask
is
Biodual.
down?
Ask Biodual.
I'm asking you. I'm
I
asking
can't see his.
He can't think in 3
see it.
dimensions. So.
I'm a flatter. I'll
There's
Ask
Peyton at the
Biodual
show.
about his fantasy. Why are you asking Rakia about Biodual's fantasy?
Well, hang on. So that's an elevation. So when you're high up, of course, you will look down. Yes, Biodual is correct on that, but we're on the Earth. We're sea level. So how would that work with the sea level?
Both of those figures are at the same elevation.
Yeah, high up, very, very extremely high up.
No, they're at zero. They're at zero.
That's fine. That's fine. Their feet are at 0, and they're the same height. I know this because I copy pasted the little guys. So they're at the same elevation. Their eyeballs are at the same elevation in respect to the Earth, and it's all level. It's a circle. There's no deviation in elevations, and then that's what it's depicting.
I get your point, Bio, when you have them very high up in elevation, right? But not at sea level, not at all whatsoever.
This will show the same thing. I can't build it to scale because if I build it to scale, it'll be too small to discern. So I have to exaggerate their heights. Obviously, I mean
their heads are at the same elevation, and their feet are at the same elevation.
Yeah. Okay.
And down is in the direction towards the center of that circle for both of them.
Well, I don't understand how that drawing represents a sphere. It's symmetrically curved in.
You don't understand how circles represent.
How circles represent a sphere?
He doesn't.
No, they don't. That's called
they do.
Muppet vision.
It's called a cross
two
section.
dimension.
Yeah, it's a because.
Hold on.
Yeah, because we
Can
have
I explain?
Because we have a computer screen that's in 2 dimensions.
Can I explain? Can I explain my ignorance?
Yeah, try.
The reason I'm saying that is because in that image, the 2 stick figures looking across from one another, it makes you think the only curve between them is vertically in front of them. Symmetrically, hold on. In the opposite direction, like a cross, symmetrically, the curve would be the same there. It would be the same in a diagonal, symmetrically in every direction.
More or less, it is. Yeah.
They would.
You don't see that.
They would see.
We do.
Cross section, you idiot! You can't. It's difficult to draw a sphere on a 2-dimensional surface.
All right, just think of it.
Just
think of it as like an MRI. It's an MRI slice.
You're using 2 dimensions, right? You can't use the real thing.
It's like a jelly roll.
2 dimensions.
Like a piece of a jelly roll.
We can, but I have my access. My access to what I could draw is Microsoft Paint. I'm also not a artist. What is it? Whatever. I can't draw shit on a computer in 3D. I have to use Microsoft Paint, and it's only the principles. I'm not trying to show you a hyper-realistic image of what we experience in reality. What I'm showing is the principle of what SE brought up. That's all.
Right.
So do you think Earth's surface is 3D or 2D, Bio?
Go ahead. Keep going.
Earth's surface, Bio? 2D or 3D?
Earth's surface is 3D, but when you talk about particular geometries, the surface of a sphere is 2D. I make this distinction because we have mountains and shit on the surface of the Earth.
The surface of a sphere is not 2D. It's fucking.
He's learning. 3-dimensional, you moron.
The surface of Earth.
Shut up, you idiot!
I don't care what you say.
You don't know anything, Montreal.
These are just obfuscation tactics. I'm interested in what the issue is here, but
yeah, we don't care about obfuscation. Pay NASA shows the Earth's surface.
Earth's
surface, is it 3D or 2D?
The surface of the Earth is 2 dimensions.
You'll be going through some.
We don't have elevation. So when you go to the top of a mountain, you're not on Earth's surface.
The surface. We're saying that we're talking about a sphere now.
No, I'm talking about Earth's surface. Like if you're at the beach, you're on the surface of Earth. If you're at the top of a mountain, you're on the surface of Earth.
There's an elevation change on the Earth.
Somebody's mic's
Is that 3D or 2D?
If you...
He won't answer.
Of course you
won't. I think it's yours.
Does basketball have 2 dimensions or 3?
You fucking stumped him. What did you stump him?
Yeah, we know that the Earth has three.
You built penis.
Elevation change, you morons.
Your
Is
orthographic
However,
image
in
is
this
never
case-
going to give you a
in this case,
realistic.
we're
Hold
talking
on,
about
hold
a-
on. Is the
in this-
surface of Earth 2D or 3D?
Surface of Earth is 3 dimensions. We understand that.
The surface, hold on. Say,
Now
one more
we
time.
understand that.
Let him
However,
say it
the
again.
surface
Hold
of a
on.
sphere is 2 dimensions.
But the surface of Earth is 3D, you said?
Because there is elevation change on the Earth. We understand.
We are making progress,
Now,
folks.
yes,
We're
we
making
are now
progress.
starting to get it. Yep.
However, the surface of a
Houston,
sphere
we have
is 2
communication.
dimensions. However, if you blow the sphere, if you were to blow up, if you were to shrink the Earth down to the size of a pool cue, it would be the smoothest object in existence.
That's the dumbest shit I've
Stop
ever
it,
heard.
Neil
We
deGrasse
live on a
Tyson.
sphere.
Stop it.
Totally correct.
Totally
correct.
correct.
If the Earth was the size of a basketball,
Where
it
do
would
you
be
live,
smoother
sir?
than a basketball.
Do you live on Earth's surface or a basketball or a
If you
cue
blew
ball?
up the size, if you shrank the Earth down to the size
Yeah,
of a
what about Earth's
basketball,
surface?
it would be
We're not
smoother than the
shrinking.
basketball.
No, we're talking about reality. Earth's
so am I.
surface, 3D, right? You've already answered. Just shut up.
So if you
Don't
if
dig
you
yourself
shrunk
a hole.
the Earth down to the
Why-
size of a basketball,
Why
the
are you still
basketball would be
talking?
rougher
You
than the Earth.
answered 3D.
So
Because-
hold on.
because
Me
in this-
having
for
the
this
hold on.
example, you don't. The
Me
third
being able
dimension,
to shrink the Earth.
You guys are conflating elevation change with
No,
curvature.
we're asking a very simple question. Earth's surface, where we live, reality. Is it 3D or 2D? Y'all both answered 3D.
If you
Congratulations.
shrink it to the size of the
Who
diagram,
cares? Shrink it.
if you shrink
You
it
can
to the size of the
microwave it.
diagram,
You
it would
can
be
do
2
whatever the
dimensions.
hell you want with it in your theory, in
Yeah,
your
well, what the
mind.
hell,
We're
Dan?
talking about reality. You
Yeah, in the
can't
meantime.
shrink. You cannot shrink Earth's surface. We live on it. We're here.
Yo,
reality.
Bev's gonna want to clip that right there. That part where they said the Earth's
Yeah,
surface
because I
is 3D.
think he said
Yeah,
after
James,
that
can
that
you
he
hear
was
me?
talking reality.
If
James.
you shrank the Earth to the
Hold on
size
a
of
second,
a
Paige.
cube,
Hold
it
on.
would be the
Paige,
smoothest object ever
hold
made.
on one second. Is my mic low?
No, you're coming in.
I hear you, Jeremy.
Then why the fuck do you keep talking over me?
I think I jumped in right when you did. It wasn't purpose, man.
All right, it was
was
the
not
second
on
time.
purpose.
Just keep it under control.
If you shrank the Earth down to the size of a basketball, wouldn't all of the water fall off, and there'd be these huge gashes in it that would make it like you could stick your
Actually,
hand
no.
almost all the way down to the center with
Actually,
how
no.
deep the oceans
This
are,
is
right?
too funny,
The ocean's
man.
not that
that-
deep
none of that
relative to the diameter of the Earth. A
Hey!
basketball would be much rougher than the Earth.
Wait, but what about all the huge gashes from where the water used to be in the oceans?
They're
Wouldn't
not
those be
that
giant
huge
holes in the
compared to
ball?
They're not that huge compared to the diameter of the Earth. The basketball.
They're not that. So the Earth
Basketball
is
surface
mostly
is 3D
water,
too.
but the holes that the water would leave behind would be not that huge compared to the
That's
rest of the
That's
ball.
correct. That's correct.
They're not that deep. I get
Even though that's most of the Earth,
Wait,
Yes,
let's go
not
for the
that
project.
deep.
according to your
All right,
claim.
guys.
So
you
it's
guys-
most
you
of the
guys
Earth,
think
but it
three
won't
dimensions.
affect how the
I-
Earth looks.
I understand you don't.
We
You
got your
cannot think in
answer.
3 dimensions. So it's
We already got
difficult
your
for you to
answer.
understand
Hey,
this.
We got your answer. Thank you.
Yeah. However,
Brenda.
you are
Hey,
confusing.
Brenda.
You're
Hey, Master
conflating.
Phil, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Rakia,
Hey,
moron.
Brenda.
Moron.
Is the
Rakia,
Earth's
listen for
surface
change.
3D or
Rakia,
2D?
How come nobody's
Rakia,
calling out the interruptions
listen to me,
here?
Rakia. If you were to
But
shrink,
only me.
if you had
Yeah,
a
we don't
diagram,
want to
you're
go into your
conflating.
fantasy land.
You don't
Yeah,
We're
know
in
come on, guys.
reality.
Come on, guys.
between Earth curve and
Reality,
elevation
no
change.
shrinking. Yeah,
Guys, we
reality.
can't hear
Regardless of
anything.
how
Come on.
someone is- Regardless of how
Rakia,
someone
once again, is
is
telling you what a
Okay, B-Ball.
party is.
You want to
Hey,
break
guys.
in, B-Ball? How about you?
Guys, there's two
B-Ball, Earth's
conversations going on.
surface, is it 3D or 2D?
it's 2D. Regardless
Earth's
of the
surface
how,
is 2D?
yes, a
All right,
flat, yes,
please,
two-dimensional.
please.
Okay, so we got
One
two
time,
3Ds.
please.
We got
Rakia,
Bio
what
and
would be
Pay
the,
Master
what
still
would be the third
3D.
dimension?
We got
What
B-Ball
would
at
be
2D.
Yeah, Bio
would
and
be the
Bio and
dimension?
Peyton Nasa still went against their peoples big time. You guys, don't you guys
I
know
didn't
you're
fucking
supposed to
mute
say?
They're in trouble.
Oh boy, they didn't have the meeting.
That's
and
why I
it's
made
gonna
it
be
say it.
Once
3D.
again, you moron show you don't
You know,
understand the
guys,
difference
you don't have to
between
like
curve
rub
Once
it in.
again, you
You know,
answered
just
3D
applaud
when
that
I
they're.
said if you're standing
Once
on the
again,
beach at the top
you
of a mountain on
fucktard.
Earth,
Guys,
that's
holy
once
again,
shit.
fucktards,
Calm
show
the
you
fuck
don't
I'm
down.
understand
dragging
the
out of
difference
you because you're a
between-
deceiver.
Come on, can I speak
Guys,
just a second?
no one can hear.
God.
Guys,
real
they made an honest concession. You don't have to like rub it in.
Once again,
or gloat.
percentage
just
is among
applaud
the
that
idiots who
they're
doesn't
being
have-
intellectually honest when they answer
Once
that question.
again,
Going
Anywhere
forward.
you look,
hello, percentage. Do we
anywhere
fucking
you
listen for
Google-
change? Hey, can I have
These
about
are-
10
why would
seconds? Can I
Damn.
have 10
Hold on,
seconds?
real quick.
Can I have 10
Anywhere you
fucking
look,
seconds?
anywhere you Google, it says the surface of a sphere is two-dimensional.
A perfect sphere.
Yes.
A
We
perfect
live-
sphere
all
would be
surfaces-
two-dimensional.
We live
all
on Earth's
surfaces are
not a
2D.
sphere.
It's like paper. That's the surface. All surfaces are 2D. What are you talking about?
Okay, so what's the point? So what's the point?
What's
It's
the
not Earth's
point?
surface, B-ball. The
Not all
question is Earth's surface.
All surfaces are not
All
2D, bro.
surfaces.
All
All
surfaces.
surfaces.
Not if there's
No,
elevation.
that's incorrect, Don. The
Yeah,
surface
what
of
about Earth's
spheres.
surface? Is it 2D?
The surface. The surface of
surface
spheres
alone.
are not 2D.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, but we
Find
don't
me a
not.
2D ball.
They are.
Find me a
Even the
fucking
surface
2D
of the
ball.
flat Earth
Hold
would
on,
be
hold
2D.
on. I have a question for B-Ball, just real quick. I have a question for B-Ball. If you draw a picture of a circle on a piece of paper, okay, and it's in front of you, you're holding it up in front of you. There's a circle. Hold on. There's a circle on a piece of paper. Is there any point in that circle that is closer to you than another point?
No.
Okay, great. No, now because your name is B-Ball, now you have a basketball in your hand and you're holding it out in front of you. Is there any point on the surface of that ball that is closer to you than another?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh, no,
B-ball,
that's
come
not
on,
true,
man.
bud.
I knew he was
What are you
gonna
talking
say
about,
that.
dude?
There is
He
a
has
point.
to say it.
Hold on. Let's hear his reasoning. Let's hear his reasoning. Hold on, guys.
Sage yourself.
Guys,
Let's hear his
guys,
reasoning.
don't hear anything, man.
Let's hear his
Wait a
reasoning.
minute. Hold on. If I
Let's
hand you
hear
a piece
his
of paper-
reasoning. B-ball, why did you say no?
Can I ask a question, please?
No,
Yeah.
answer the question.
Are you trying to tell me that you cannot make a sphere out of a million?
B-ball, why did you
squares?
say no that there's no
Million
point
flat
that's closer
squares.
than another point on the basketball you held
No,
up in
you
front of you? Why'd you say
If you're in
no?
the center of the sphere, no.
Huh?
Why'd you say no, bro?
Can you repeat
That
the
wasn't
question?
the question, B-ball.
The
You're
question
holding
was,
the
why did you
basketball
say
out
no about any point on the basketball being closer to you?
Wait, say that again.
If you held a basketball out in front of you, is there any point on the basketball that's closer than any
One
other point?
person,
to you?
everybody.
Wait. One person asked the question.
Oh my
I know
goodness.
he's just fucking trolling.
Yeah,
We're
no,
talking to one
it's
person.
just a
Hear me either.
Brandon, please ask me the question. One
All right.
person, please.
If you have a basketball, you held it out in front of you. Is there any point on the basketball that's closer to you than another point on the basketball?
Of course, the point that you're facing, of course.
Okay.
Then why'd you
That's
say
why
no?
we were wondering why you said no,
Why did
because
you
it didn't
say
make
no?
any
Okay.
sense.
It's a piece.
I
think he didn't hear it correctly.
It's a piece of paper. Yeah, you heard it correctly. He just
piece of
Hey,
paper.
Brenda.
Shout out
Because
Travis,
you
good
people
one.
talk.
Hello.
Guys, he said he didn't hear it
Maybe
correctly.
you're
That's
holding
fine.
the
The
question
basketball
on
out in front
paper
of
was
you
just
isn't
being
the closest
repeated.
point.
Is a piece
The
of
part
paper
that you're touching.
two-dimensional?
Follow up while you asked it.
Hello.
If-
Is the surface of a
Thank
piece
you.
of paper two-dimensional?
I don't think so. If you're going to be really technical, you could probably zoom in and
Could you-
find
could you make
like
a
you know
sphere?
granularities and
Could you make a
irregularities in the paper.
small-
Okay, so let's theoretically have a very smooth piece of paper. Is it two-dimensional?
Is it perfectly smooth?
Yes.
Yes.
Then yes.
Okay, so I roll it into
Yeah.
a cylinder. Is it still two-dimensional?
No.
No,
Piece of
now it's
paper.
not
There are no
two-dimensional,
two-dimensional
but-
objects.
Now it's
Hold
It's
on,
a cylinder.
guys.
You've introduced
Guys, hold
that.
on 1 second, please. There are no two-dimensional objects in reality.
That doesn't
Okay.
matter. We're
This
talking about
is math, though. Is the surface two-dimensional on a flat piece of paper?
Yes.
A 2D
I
plane?
roll it
flat.
into a cylinder. Is it
Are
still
you talking about a
two-dimensional?
plane or a piece
But
of
let him
paper?
get to where he's going.
Why
Just
not?
let him get to where he's going.
Hold on a second.
I wanna
took
hear
a
this.
piece of paper that you guys agree
Hang
is
on.
two-dimensional.
To be a cylinder,
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
got to
No,
be in
paper is not
3D. It's got to be
two-dimensional.
spatially
Not the
three-dimensional.
Surface, sir.
That's
It's
what
the
I was saying.
surface, not the cylinder itself. The surface of the cylinder.
No.
Yeah,
It's
it's still
no,
not,
it's
it's
changed.
still not 2D
It's still a piece
because
of
Not no
paper.
more. Yeah,
no,
it's
there's
not
depth
2D.
now.
No, but no.
You
Depth.
have points
The
on one
surface.
end and points
How
at the
can it
same
change? But
same
you said the surface- hold on a
coordinates on the
second.
other end. The only way you
the-
could tell the difference is by a third coordinate for
Poe.
depth.
Poe.
No, it's
The
three-dimensional when you crumble
Is
it
the
up.
piece of paper two-dimensional because it's flat? Right?
No.
A cylinder is
A piece of paper is not two-dimensional.
The surface, not the cylinder. The surface of the cylinder.
It doesn't
What
matter. The
is a
surface is
cylinder?
curled into each other, so you need
But
depth.
the surface was flat.
Hold on.
Before, all I did is roll it
It
into
was
a sphere.
flat,
Exactly.
you idiot. You
Introduce
can't draw a
depth
line
when
on
you-
it anymore.
Surface has
Hold
not
on,
changed.
You
guys.
can't
You
draw
can draw
a line on it.
You just can't draw a straight one.
The
Hold on a
surface
second, guys.
has not
The
changed.
surface-
It is still two-dimensional.
No,
a
you're
cylinder
wrong.
is
No.
Okay,
a
wait.
cylinder
I think I
is
see the problem.
Guys, hold on a second.
Hold on. If you hold on. If you can't measure, hold on.
Is the same
Oh
piece
my
of paper.
God!
If
Chill.
you
What are you
can't measure, if you can't measure
what
length
are
and
you
width
voting?
and get the area,
Guys.
then it's not too
Holy
deep.
crap, dude!
That's
turn
incorrect.
It down.
Chill. You have the flat
This
paper,
is
right?
outrageous.
Flat paper. You only need length and width. You have the area fully
I
mapped
can
out,
prove
right?
it. I can prove what he said.
The
is
same
true.
thing happens on the cylinder.
No,
The
if it's a
surface
cylinder, you
of
need
the
length,
cylinder.
width, and height, right?
No, not for the surface, sir. It's the same
Okay,
thing.
for
You
the-
map the same
for the
point.
total
I know what the
area.
problem is.
You can
Guys,
map
cylinder-
the same thing
guys-
on the same surface, no matter if it's in a cylinder or if it's flat.
A cylinder
doesn't
is
matter.
a cylinder.
No.
Guys,
No.
a
The
cylinder
cylinder
is
is three-dimensional. The surface of the cylinder is still two-dimensional. It's the same piece of paper.
Nope. Yes, I
You
can
cannot
prove
Can I
it.
get in real quick?
change the paper.
No, it's
No, you
not.
can't.
Or is
I
NASA
can-
never going to stop
I
talking?
can prove it. I can prove
A
it.
surface
Go ahead,
is
Jeremy.
neither
Hold up,
3D or
NASA.
2D. It can't be.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Jeremy.
the surface of a cylinder is a developable surface, which means it can be laid out on a 2D plane. A sphere,
can
however,
prove it.
cannot be put on a 2D plane. Therefore, you'll never have.
You're
You'll never have.
working on the
Come on,
cylinder.
I was
It actually
almost
can
done.
be.
Why are you guys spiraling on me? Relax.
We will get to the cylinder in a second. We're only talking about the cylinder because it's an easier condition.
Okay, well, I'm just letting you know the surface of a sphere can never be laid out on a 2D plane, which means you're always going to have a third dimension to it.
Actually, it can be, but that's another issue.
It can't.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
What
Here's
if
the
you have
thing. When you draw
projection?
an image,
Really?
when you
How
draw
can
an
it?
image,
Correct.
Hold on. How can it? How can it? How can it be?
here's the
How
thing,
can
guys.
it? With
So have we agreed that the surface
I
of a
can
cylinder
explain.
is two-dimensional yet?
I
hold
do.
on.
I agree.
When,
Fine,
you
hey.
guys,
Sphere?
He's making
No.
at least Jeremy's getting in the idea.
I don't agree.
Okay,
I
wait, hold on,
Jeremy
hold on. Let
is
me have a
wrong.
let me have a chance.
No,
to
Jeremy's
say it
right
again
for a
real quick.
change. I hate
Hold
to
on.
say that.
when you
Hold
when
on,
you draw an
Paige, hold
image
on,
on a
real
piece
quick.
of paper,
Hold on, real quick. Okay, Paige, you have a physical cylinder in front of you, okay? It's a physical cylinder. Now you've stood it on its side so that the flat side is on the table, and you're looking straight ahead at that cylinder. Is there any point on the face of that cylinder that you're looking at that is closer to you than another point?
Yeah, so?
It is three-dimensional. Thank you.
No, it is two-dimensional.
No,
See,
it's not because the surface of anything only has length and width. It doesn't have depth.
Exactly. If you can figure out the area by multiplying length times width, then it's two-dimensional. Period.
It's two-dimensional. It's not
So I have a piece
three-dimensional.
I have a piece of paper
That
on
does
the
not
table.
work on a sphere. That does
Yes,
not
it
work
does.
on a sphere.
Yes, it
I have
does.
a piece of paper. I
No,
have a
you
piece of
cannot
paper on
get
the
area
table.
multiplying
One
length
second.
times width on a sphere.
I have a piece of paper on the table. Is one part of it closer than the other part?
Not if it's standing up straight.
Tell me the two dimensions you get area
Flying
on a
on the
sphere.
table,
Tell me the equation.
Yes. It doesn't
Is it
matter how
when
you
you
put these
draw
papers on the
against the
table.
wall,
One
then
part
no.
will always be closer to you. Yes.
If it's flat against the wall,
Where-
then
what-
no.
can I say what I was going to say? guys?
Even if you have it flat against the wall, there will be one part of that paper
freaking
closer
disco ball.
than the other.
Should be
A
closer in
disco
the middle
ball
at that
Depends on
point.
how big the paper is.
No, even then, no matter how big the paper is.
Paper is
Still
a
got-
3D object.
The
Therefore,
distance
no
to the
matter
cylinder
what,
would be different than the
part
difference
of it
to
will
the
be
sides.
closer.
Closer
Let me get a word
to
in.
what? What part of you?
Closer you
Your
think
eye?
bullshit is
Closer
against
to your
you.
head? What?
Doesn't matter.
Or how
You're
you're
gonna pick
manned.
whatever
physically.
point
I
you
can
want.
reach out- I
Some
can
part of it will
touch
be
the
closer to
center.
you.
Closer to what part of
Can't
you?
touch the sides.
It doesn't
can I?
matter. Pick one. Anyone.
What if it's the size of, it's an inch by inch?
It doesn't matter how
Small
you change the
paper.
size. You can take any object, any size, does not matter. You set it anywhere, and some part of it has
Bigger.
to be
It's
closer
easier
to
if
you
you
because
think
that's how
bigger.
reality works. That's how
What
3D
is
objects
you?
work.
When you're saying closer to you, what part
It
of you are
doesn't
you talking
matter
about?
what you
It does
consider.
matter,
You can
though.
agree
If
on.
the paper
Hey,
is
we can
super
just
fucking
agree.
small,
What's you?
and your
What's
entire
you?
body eclipses it, then you can't say that one part of the paper is close to you.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
I
get
agree
off
with you,
it. You know what you're
I mean,
talking
hey,
about.
but you're wrong.
And you're trying to
whatever
Let me
you
second-
consider to be
let
you,
me
it's
just
closer.
say this. Let me say
As long
this,
as it's
guys.
physical.
With this whole argument started with a drawing on a piece of paper. So the image that's drawn on the paper is two-dimensional. The piece of paper is three-dimensional, but the image that's on it is only two dimensions.
Okay.
Now, if you crumble that piece of paper
Agree
up,
with- Am I gonna agree
sure,
with him for
it's three-dimensional, but you won't be able to make the image out anymore either.
That's not
I
actually
don't
accurate.
understand what. That is totally accurate.
No, it is not. It is not actually accurate.
Yes, it is.
Okay? And
Okay,
here's
tell me
why.
how it's inaccurate.
Whenever you put, let's say, pencil or pen to paper, you are not actually drawing a 2D thing. That ink has
Yeah,
depth
you are.
to it. It's thin. It's very thin. It's extremely thin, thinner than you might be able to detect ever normally without really looking at it closely. That
think
ink,
the point is
that
me.
lead has depth to it. You have not made a 2D object. We can't. It's impossible. The only thing
You're
we can
saying
do
that-
is make an object on a screen pretend to be 2D. It's an idea, a concept, a thing that we use as a tool to do other things. We do not have an example in reality of a 2D object ever.
True.
So you're saying that when you see an image of a planet on your screen, that it's three-dimensional?
Absolutely not.
It's a
No, it's two-dimensional.
It's not real.
representation on a
It's an
three-dimensional
image.
not real
It's
at
fake.
all.
It's
I agree.
pretend. It's imaginary
Yes.
land.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On a 3D screen.
So it doesn't exist. It
If you have,
cannot
like,
have
But you
dimension. It doesn't
you just
exist.
sat there.
watercolors, it would
You
actually
just sat
soak
and you
into the
said
paper. So when
you said ink had depth to it. Ink had depth to it. Now you might not be able to measure that depth.
That's
So you
right.
just totally made your
No,
point.
no, no.
null.
Listen, the
You
image on your
said one
screen
thing,
isn't
and then
actually there.
immediately
It's light.
made it
It's
null.
just it's lights making you think it's there. It's not real. It doesn't exist in real. The thing on your screen is not existing in reality. It's pretend.
Well, but
It's
it's
light
a straw
image.
man anyway. It's a straw man. Don't even waste your time on it.
I agree with that.
Technically,
Okay.
The drawing
There's
on
no
the piece of
contradiction here.
paper.
The thing on your screen doesn't have any dimension whatsoever because it's fake. It's pretend. It's not actually there. And the thing on the paper is actually there in reality. Therefore, it must have depth.
Well,
No
the piece of
contradiction
paper
whatsoever.
is three-dimension.
We've got
The
like
piece of
watercolors
paper
that
is
soak into the paper.
three-dimension. The image that's drawn on it is two-dimension, just like the screen.
No.
You just admitted that.
No.
You just admitted it.
The image would
You
be
said the screen is
It's not
two-dimensional.
2D.
You were
There's a
technically correct
drawing
before.
for all history on
It
your
pretends
screen.
to be two-dimensional or three-dimensional.
The
It's not
television's
actually there.
three-dimensional. Your
An
argument
image
is the
not
same with the
actually
television.
there.
The TV itself is three-dimensional.
You can literally
No,
make
if we're being technical, guys,
listen,
the ink
the pixels,
has
the things
has,
that make the
um,
light, those are
volume.
three-dimensional.
The
The
ink
image
has
is
depth.
sphere with many flat surfaces. Do we not know this?
Hold on, Stephanie. Michaela, Stephanie's on the phone.
I can't believe you're arguing. This shit is
She usually
fucking
calls to
elementary.
talk to you.
Does it help at all
So
to,
have we agreed that
to
this
ignore
that
the
you guys
edges of
have
the
cylinder
paper?
two-dimensional yet or not?
So listen, that's the problem with the argument that he's making is that if you take the paper, the surface, and then you bend it, and that argument, it doesn't make any sense because the paper itself is 3D. Okay, it could never be 2D. There's no such thing as a surface. Surface is a
2D.
concept.
So you can't.
Surface
So
is
you
a thing
wouldn't
that
be
we
able to
use to
finish
describe
According-
part of an object.
A 2D surface is a
So-
concept, yes.
According
So
to
you
his
wouldn't-
argument, you could take it and crumble it up, and it's still the same surface, and it's still
So
a
we-
2D
yeah,
object.
right.
You could,
Yes.
Yes,
it
Yeah,
would.
that's
that doesn't
don't get
make
it.
any sense, guys.
It does.
It's a total semantic argument, and it makes me wonder why
it's
you guys
not.
are
It's
making
not.
it.
It's not total
Couldn't you
semantic.
It is.
It's actually mathematical.
Why are you making this argument? Why do you need a sphere to be 2D?
The surface.
Because
Of
the
a
surface is
Why
2D.
do you need the surface of a sphere to be 2D?
Because it
Why do
is.
you need it to be 3?
No, no, no.
surface
There's a
has no
reason you guys
dimension.
argue this point so vehemently. Why?
Because you guys don't understand.
What
math.
happens if it's 3D?
Because you guys keep saying that it's not.
What happens if it's 3D though? I don't understand.
That's
Who
a great
cares?
point, Brandon. I think there's particular people here that just want to argue just to argue. I don't foresee a conclusion that's productive at all.
Yeah,
If you want to say that height is the
elementary,
third
dude.
dimension, then I will agree with you on that point. That you can have height above above the plane. That would be as, you know. But the problem is you guys conflate elevation change with the curvature.
Well, that's what I wanted to. I drew a diagram for you guys. Let me just go through it real quick because there was some questions, and I think some people in the audience might be going, "Why is a elevation profile? Why would it be the same on the sphere Earth model and a flat Earth model?" So on the left here on my screen, I'm showing you on the diagram. You'll see the ball Earth. And I've got a gentleman standing here. There's a mountain next to him, and then nothing on the other side. This top of this square is representing the flat Earth. You got the same situation: guy, mountain, nothing. Now, if I want to draw these on a map and I say that this surface, this outer edge of the circle, is my 0. That's sea level, and the top of this square is 0. That's sea level, and I chart it out where I say, okay, for every meter or every 10,000 meters above sea level, it's one of these squares, right? Just a simple XY, what is it called? Chart, right? And I would show, here's my gentleman. He's got a height. And then we get to the mountain, and I chart that all out, and it's going to look like this. This is how I'm going to chart that out. The same thing on this flat surface. I'm going to chart it out from sea level, the height of the objects above sea level. It's going to be exactly the same. Do you understand?
Right. I have no problem with that. That's actually really good that you did that.
Do you have this diagram? That you
Pretty
share?
sexy. Like
Except if you got retards that say Google Earth doing the same thing means that the Earth is flat.
Yo,
No,
Brandon, did you
that's
actually
true.
draw
That's
the
true.
person and the mountain, or did you just like grab those
So-
images somewhere else?
I grab it.
We noticed that
They
the
have
image
those
is
in there.
two-dimensional.
The little artist, you've been hidden it.
This is really good. Do you mind if I screenshot it and save it? Because this is really good, showing you'd have the same profiles regardless of the shape.
The only
Well done,
way it
Brandon.
would be the same, however, the only way it would be the same though is if the globe was a perfect globe and the radius was absolutely known and is perfect. Because of course the mainstream is going to claim it's an oblate spheroid and it has all these different, an oblateness to it. So it actually wouldn't be the same on an oblate sphere. The only way that would be the same is if it was a
You
perfect
can
sphere.
account for. You
Yeah.
can
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
You
Would
can
it be
make
the
it
same?
Symmetric in all directions.
Hold
Well
up, if
said.
we're steel mounting the globe, wouldn't they say that the base would be hidden on the left one because of the Sagitta, what have you? Because look at the image, you
No.
don't see as much
Yeah.
of the mountain.
The base of the mountain is hidden on the flat Earth too. You can't get to the base.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
Ron, you
Not
got
in
think
that
Right
image.
now, the
there's
the
the-
bottom of the mountains are curved in the top image on the left. They're not curved in the bottom image. So something has changed between those two mountains.
All right. Well, you
But
got
they're
to
of
use a little bit of
equal
imagination here
elevation.
and picture this area of this mountain sitting with its bottom here and top here. It's the same size mountain with the same exact area, same height,
Okay,
sitting on both
Here's
models.
here's the problem: is that you're saying that 0 is sea level, right?
Yeah.
Means
Right,
sea
but the
level.
distance, but if the sea is on the other side of the Earth, the distance from that sea is going to be different to the mountain than the distance of a sea that's right next to the mountain.
No, it's always measured locally. It's the height above or below sea level.
Okay, but now we're back to the
point
question:
is.
what's local? Who decides what local is?
Well, we decide it's the measured from the center of the circle in the left-hand part of the diagram.
No one else is claiming that.
No.
I don't know
Yeah,
why you
but
keep saying that. No
That's
one else
what it
has said that.
means. That's what it
Yeah, I've
means.
heard that claim a few
Okay,
times,
are
actually. That's what I
all
was trying to
here
say
agreeing
earlier.
that
So,
the 0
I
is
like
the
what
center
he
of the
just
Earth instead
said.
of the sea level?
Well, if you look at these two images, and you look at the circle, you look directly in this.
Definitely.
You look directly in the center of the circle, right? That would be popped out because it's a sphere, not just two-dimensional, right?
No.
So
No.
that would be below the mountain.
What?
If the
The
sea
sea.
is right there, like you're saying, yeah, then that has to be a different distance
It's
away
below
from
the
the top of the mountain than the sea that's right next to the mountain. It
it's
has
not-
to be.
All that's going to do is move you up the height axis, the the y axis of this thing. It's going to be
If
up
you
and down.
go from the surface of the sea
That would be the Z
on the
axis.
very front of the
Y
sphere
axis.
there and go
But in real
straight to the top
time-
of the mountain, it will be further than if you go from the sea next to the mountain straight to the top of the mountain.
Bob, sea level is measured from the center of the circle on the left-hand side. That's what level means. That's elevation.
Good point,
No,
Brenda.
that's not
Good
what
point,
level
Brenda.
means.
No, it
Yes, it is.
doesn't.
Yes, it is.
No, that's
It
not
is.
what
Okay,
Brendan.
so there's
that's
the
not
problem.
what
That's
Brendan
not-
That's why there's
explained
No, it
division.
doesn't.
before.
We disagree
not
on
what
what
they
level
agreed
is,
on.
so it won't work.
You don't get to disagree.
Oh,
That's
hold
what
on.
words mean.
Yes, I do. I disagree. There, I did it.
No, you don't.
Here's my point.
Too late.
Brenda, this is what I'm trying to say. That in the center of that circle, right? That would be the closest part of the sphere to you, looking at it.
That's not what we're measuring when we're measuring elevation.
You measure elevation profile, you start at the man.
It's up
Whoever
to
the
the
guy
mountain.
is the 0 point. Is this so difficult?
Brandon, there's an
It's
error
still-
in your
it's
drawing.
retarded.
It's so
Let me, I
retarded.
can explain it to you.
Oh, please explain in Montreal.
Okay, what's there?
Okay. What you explained was their fantasy. I'm not doubting you on that. But now, from the very same token, if you look at where the man is on the right, he's level with the mountain, right? Same elevation with the mountain, right? But the man on the left, on that fantasy ball sphere that you drew, right? I'm not downing you. Don't get me wrong now. He is lower than the base of the mountain on the left.
Same elevation. He's at the same elevation.
You see what I mean, Brandon?
Well, that is what they would say, because the elevation is just a measure of, the
Yeah, I don't
height
think
of
anyone's
the
arguing that
plumb
they
bob
don't
at
say
any
that.
local.
Arguing
That's
that
all
it's
it is.
harder.
Paul cannot think in 3 dimensions. That's his big problem.
It's
He's a two-dimensional thinker.
even easier than that. It's easier than that. That simple question. Let's say that each man is the same height, and we'll say 6 feet. From the surface of that particular shaped Earth, whether it's flat with a cube or spherical, doesn't matter. The height of that man or the top of the head to the ground, what is that distance, Montreal? For the guy on the left.
What are you talking about, dude? Look, it's very
please. It's very simple. I just want to get to it really quickly.
Reality.
Thinker,
You're
you're not.
0 and 0. Let's get to the nitty gritty. 0
I
in
know.
my
I am
reality,
trying.
0 in your
Montreal.
fantasy, correct?
Montreal, I'm trying. They're both. Let's just assume that they're both 6 feet, both men. The guy on the left, from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet to the ground, that's our reference. The ground there is 6 feet. When you look at the guy on the right, the distance from the top of his head to the bottom of his feet is 6 feet. So on an elevation profile, they're going to match up exactly. There's no reason not to think that.
Well, what about the
Only if
difference
you
between
think of elevation?
Well, you're just saying that if you ignore elevation,
if the
then
guy
it's
is
the
6
same.
feet,
That is elevation. That's what
Hold on.
You see,
elevation
Brenda has
is.
one explanation of a fantasy from the center of your fantasy sphere, but
No,
the
Brenda's wrong about
explanation
that.
that Brandon gave was from the surface, not
No,
from the
that's
center.
It's the same explanation.
Montreal. He said the surface.
I see what
on
you
the
guys
left,
are saying.
the surface was
Sense,
0.
but let's
just
take
like
a
Wait,
flat
hold on.
surface is
Let
0.
me just run through something real quick, okay? Brandon,
everyone's talking at once. Can percentage? You say what you said. I just trying to hear one person.
I'm just saying I disagree with Montreal because Brandon was clear with his premise, which is that the surface of that sphere is 0 in terms of sea level, right? It's 0.
Right.
So
That's not what Brenda's saying, though. Brenda's saying from the
that is
from the
what I'm
center.
saying. That is what I'm saying.
No, that's not what you said.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Brenda,
No,
you
you
said
said 0
it's
measured
moot
from the
for you to
center.
measure from the center when he already said it's 0 all around. It's doesn't help at all. You understand?
So,
it's moot to mention
No,
that.
you're just too dumb to understand.
No, you are. And Montreal,
it's not.
you're wrong to say the guy's lower because again, it's 0
Brandon.
all the way around. So you're always going to measure from the blue
No,
surface.
incorrect percentage. Only if
No,
you
that's
put your
wrong,
brain
Montreal.
in the fantasy ball sphere.
That's
I'm
how-
showing you in the
Wait,
picture
wait, wait,
how
wait,
it's
bro.
debunked.
Did you just say it's 0 all the
There's
way
only
around?
one level.
That was Brandon's
There's
premise.
one level.
If you disagree with that premise, then fine, because we all disagree with it. We don't.
No,
we
that's
don't
fine.
think the left is right,
But that
right?
that makes my
But
point
that's
then.
the
If
premise.
it's 0 all the way around, the 0
Yes.
on the bottom is further from the top of the mountain than the 0 on the top
We're
of the
not
ball.
measuring from the top of the
Jeez
mountain.
Louise.
We're not measuring from the mountain. Sea
So the,
level
the
is
height of the mountain doesn't matter for elevation.
sea level.
Because here's where it changes.
Hold
Sea
up.
level.
Gio, I appreciate you
Let me
like.
finish the sentence. Let me
Gio,
finish
I
the
appreciate
sentence.
you.
not at a higher
like-
I don't talk over people.
Hold on,
I don't
guys.
talk over people.
Yeah. Let me just say
me
this,
finish the
Gio.
sentence.
I
Everybody
appreciate
talk
you
over me,
trying
it's
to
fine.
Shut up,
give the
Paul.
floor to me so that one person speaks at a
Shut up,
time.
Paul.
I hope we can continue that. So one person speaks at a time. Go ahead, Brenda.
Right. Sea level is 0 all around the globe.
Yeah, that was a premise.
That's not what you said before, you liar.
Yes.
That's what you said.
You
Montreal.
liar.
got that.
You can understand it.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's what I said.
let's
So
say
if it is
Fine.
0 all the way around, right now, looking at that picture, the 0 on the bottom will be further away from the top of the mountain or the bottom of the mountain than the 0 on the top, which means they're different.
Agreed, Bob. Watch
this chart
Watch
does
this.
not
Agreed.
measure
Agreed.
the
Watch this.
distance.
No, watch this. Watch
Hold
this.
on.
Yeah,
Oh, I got
agreed.
it. This chart does not show. It doesn't show the relationship between this man and the top of the mountain. All this shows is at this position, at this distance, there's something that is this high up off the ground, above sea level or below sea level. That's
Right.
all
Okay.
it does.
My point is that if your zero goes all the way around and you measure from different points, you're going to get a different number, which would then make it a different elevation, and your numbers will be screwed up. So it can't work like that.
Yes, I'll give you a
let me give
perfect
you
example.
Are you really
Let me
stupid?
give you a perfect example, man. That's what I've been trying to say. Well said, dude. Because he said if you measure, he said if you measure from different points, right, you'll get different numbers.
You measure straight
I'll
down.
tell you how, if you let me. If you take a spaceship above the mountains in both images, and from the spaceship to the person of both images, what person's closer?
Jesus Christ.
Bob, Brandon, they're basically saying the same thing that I said. Right? The bottom of
There's
the
a
mountain,
difference
that
there.
sphere,
You understand that the bottom
surfaces,
diagram
it
is
ruins it a little bit.
There's a difference
if you wanna
there in
change
that
the scale,
measurement.
that'll
What's
treat
that? What's that percentage? Sorry. I didn't hear you.
I'm saying like they're basically making the same point that I made in the very beginning. Apparently they didn't hear me when I said it, where the bottom of the mountain looks like it's kind of different because of the bulge, if you will. So if you want to make the sphere a lot bigger so that you can't really notice the base being different, then I don't think they'll.
That's not what he's talking about. What Bob brought up is the actual distance. The base of the mountain, the base of a mountain, and then you go all the way to the other end. It's a particular distance. But Bob, that is depicted on these elevation charts because you have a distance on the x-axis, and then you have elevation on the y. So when you talk about this distance, the y, the reference isn't changing. It's still going to be 0 based on sea level all the way around it. And then when you have something at a distance, hold on, Montreal.
Here.
Hold on. And then when you have this distance, Montreal, shut the fuck up. God damn.
No, you shut the fuck up, bro. You've
yeah,
been
great.
talking.
Awesome. I haven't talked for like 10 fucking minutes. God damn. So when we're talking about the distance from the mountain to the bottom of this spherical Earth, that's going to be depicted on the x-axis of the elevation profile, in which there's going to be space, lots of space, because that's distance. So that's how it's depicted.
Okay, genius. How can you go around a sphere without having elevation change? How is that possible?
You just travel. Hold on.
God damn, are you this stupid,
It's fine.
Montreal? Can
It's
you
fine.
really not think of
We don't have to devolve like that. We don't have to devolve. Listen, Montreal, you travel on the surface.
Answer a simple question.
You travel on the surface.
So,
You have
so
a
you
longer
can,
day than I do.
okay, let me rebut that.
Work-wise.
We have a basketball now, right? We have a basketball in front of us.
Actual work.
We
right?
have a little toy car on top, right?
Right.
Right? Now
Not my bad, guys.
Go ahead, Montreal. Toy car and basketball.
He may have cut out.
He cut out. Can I
Yeah,
try
you
a different?
drive over the
Did I cut out?
Yeah,
you did.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let me try again,
Toy
please.
car and basketball.
We have a basketball on a car, right?
Other way
You're
around.
telling me that car can travel from the top of the basketball to the bottom of the basketball without elevation change?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Do it yourself.
Then you are all fucking
Hold on.
delusional.
Don't-
I rest my case.
don't
There's
devolve.
nothing for
Wait,
me.
wait, wait,
Tell
wait,
you
wait,
to
wait.
stay. You're a bunch
Then
of
the
morons.
elevation
Stop
has to be
devolving.
based on the center, right?
Stop devolving. Stop devolving. Stop. It's totally reasonable for Montreal to say that. We know he's going
No,
to say
it's
that.
not.
Now you respond with, what do you think would happen, Montreal, if you put a toy car on a basketball, held it to the surface, and you moved it forward? What do you think would happen? If not, it would travel on the surface.
Bro, that can work on a model. It can't work in reality.
Holy shit.
Technically, Montreal's right because basketballs aren't perfectly spherical. They have like the little bumps and
Close
stuff.
enough.
So there would be elevation changes.
We know that we're assuming a smooth sphere. We're assuming a smooth sphere, obviously.
Then there would be no
Hold on,
elevation.
can I make a point about that? Why are you assuming a smooth sphere?
Because it's just for the sake of the principle of the argument. If you want to get really technical, what I'll say is get into a plane and maintain the same, exist in the same pressure throughout, and then you'll never have to change elevation. But if you want to talk literally
You
on
didn't want to
Earth,
say altitude,
if you
did
want
you?
to talk,
What? Are
if
you
you want
saying
to
you
talk,
can get on a
if you
plane
want to talk
and
literally on Earth, if you want to literally talk about it and be the most pedantic cunt in the world, of course you're going to change elevation because baby hills exist, because small ditches exist, potholes exist. Of course you're going to change elevation.
No, I wasn't going to say
So you're
that. I was just going to say they don't use a sphere. They use a ellipsoid.
Yeah.
Right, but for the
WGS
sake of the
84
argument
miles
and
per year.
the principles behind
When
the
you're flying
argument,
in clear skies,
Let me say
when
this.
you're flying
If
in
that's the
clear
case,
skies,
if
into
the
a
case
thunderstorm, the pressure don't change.
See, and this
Okay,
is
can
how
we not
pedantic
move on
we
to
get
pressure right now,
when we
please?
understand
Can you
the
wait?
principle and the
Let's do
argument.
pressure later. Listen, if that's the case, that the car goes along the surface all the way around and never changes elevation, that must mean that the elevation is being measured from the center, not the surface. Because if you take the surface on one side and measure it to the top of the car somewhere else, it will be different than if you take it from the surface where the car is to the top of the car.
I can
So it
explain
must
it
be
to you,
measured
Bob.
from somewhere other than the surface,
No,
because the
I
surface goes all the way around,
You're
and
right.
you'll get different numbers from different parts of the surface.
I can explain it to you, Bob. Do you know what tear is on a scale?
No.
So when you go to weigh things,
What does that have to do with it?
I will explain. So when I buy, for instance, flour at my grocer's, I put it in a container and I hit tear, and it zeroes out the weight of the container. And then I put the flour in and I measure just the flour. The flour is the deviation from tear. So it's the same thing with the earth. We measure from the center to the mean sea level and we hit tear. And then hills and valleys are deviations. They are elevations from sea level, which is tear.
Honestly, Brenda, that's a very
So
good
you're
analogy.
traveling straight while you're going around a sphere. Is that what you're saying?
Here's the thing. Here's the problem, is that whenever you use the container and then hit cancel out, like at the store, the container is a known thing and is the same every time. How are you deciding where to zero out at from the center of the earth? We have never even been to the center of the earth. We can't decide where to zero out at.
Right. Well, people have measured the circumference of the earth. They know what the geoellipsoid is. They know its dimensions. We know that.
No one's been to every inch of the earth. That's impossible. No one has gone along every inch of the earth and measured it.
They've gone all the way around. They're all on McToon's website.
Okay.
They've
Okay, so
measured
you
all
have to
around the
assume
earth.
some things first. I got it.
No, that's not an assumption. It's a
No,
measurement.
yeah, it's an assumption. No one has ever done that. No one has ever actually measured it.
Does it require a calculation, Brenda? Brenda, does it require a calculation, or did they actually measure?
Pretty sure they use radar and LiDAR specifically. That'll be the most efficient.
If it required a calculation, then if it required a calculation, then it does have assumptions.
A calculation? No, calculations are not
What is
assumptions.
the formula for the circumference
Garbage
of the
in,
circle,
garbage
Brandon?
out.
So-
Input equals
so
output.
the-
Garbage input
Hey,
equals
no
garbage
tool
output.
abusers allowed.
What is
So
the circumference of a circle? Brandon?
So
What's
they
the
are
reference
measuring.
formula?
They are measuring the circumference of the circle of the sphere, right, and calculating the diameter or the radius. A calculation is a.
So it's a calculation,
secondary-
not a measurement.
I don't talk over other. I don't talk over other
We'll
people.
just post it
So
in general.
A calculation is a secondary measurement, right? A tape
No,
measure
it's
would
not.
be a primary.
Calculations aren't measurements. No.
Yes,
You
they
know, I
are.
think-
Yes,
I
they
think
are.
we
Ruhif,
absolutely
Ruhif
skipped
asked a
over-
question.
Hold
I
on.
want Ruhif to ask his question again. What was that, Ruhif? Ruhif,
Anyways,
are you there?
I was going to say,
Can you
think we
work out the
skipped
radius
over
of
the
a
most
circle if you know the
important thing.
circumference?
We must miss the most important thing about this, which is if the guy is 6 feet tall, then how the fuck do we have a mountain that's only about 9 feet?
That's
It's an
essentially what
illustration.
the responses have been, and they've been so pedantic.
I don't think that matters right now with the point. we're trying to
Brenda,
make.
look in the general chat.
Wow, okay.
Look at what James Richard posted, Brenda, in the general. Just take a look at that.
I don't see a link.
It's
Just
an
look for
elevation
my-
definition.
Just look for James Richard. Just look at it's at the bottom.
I see it.
Towards the bottom.
I see it. It says download PDF, but there's no link.
Oh, really?
He's talking about the definition on the bottom. I can read it. I'll just copy paste the definition.
I couldn't tell if that was a bad joke or just, you know, just dumb and
Thanks,
don't
man.
get it.
It's not what it showed when I posted it on my screen. It shows what it shows
Okay,
like a
it
full
says-
paragraph.
It says the elevation of a geographic location is the height above or below a fixed reference point. That's what mean sea level is. It's a fixed reference point.
Keep reading, Brenda.
Fixed?
Keep reading. How come you're not doing it out loud?
She's scared.
Some people can read inside their heads.
All right, well,
Yeah, so I don't see anything that contradicts anything I've said.
if he doesn't want to read it out loud, you read it out loud.
I don't see
It's
anything
not
that's
taken
contradicts.
from the
It says-
center of the earth.
Can we have it read, please?
It's not taken from the center of the earth, Brenda.
I said it was taken from the geo
The
ellipse.
center of the circle is what she said.
Yeah,
Well, there
many
is no
times.
circle.
Even
There is
after
no
I challenged her.
circle in her fucking model. There is no circle.
Yeah, so what?
It's a sphere. You said earlier that the elevation was taken from the center of the earth.
Yes.
No, it's not.
She said the mean sea level. She said the
Like
mean
a
sea
lens
level.
like
And how do you
disagreement
determine
here.
the mean sea level?
To be fair, he contradicted what he said earlier.
So-
he said center before.
No.
So,
no,
so
go ahead.
for the same
I'll
reason,
just let her
for
talk.
the
She'll
same
get there.
reason, for the same reason, we don't talk about the bumps on the basketball, right? We just understand that there's a context that everybody understands. We all understand, right, that the Earth is actually a geo-ellipsoid. It's not actually a perfect sphere, but we can talk about it as if it was a perfect sphere for the purposes of illustrating a concept.
Okay, but you're still wrong to mention center.
Okay, well, as long as you admit it's a concept, your story, that's fine.
Yes, concepts are describe reality.
It's just a story.
No,
No.
they're
Hey,
not. They describe
They don't need to.
reality.
No.
I feel like we've been
They
doing a
don't
lot of
describe the
arguing, but
reality,
I'm not sure
Brenda.
what any of the arguments matter.
No,
But
they don't
anyway.
matter. They don't.
I wanted to ask about this picture. I think Don Geo posted it. Don, did you post this picture?
Really?
Or was it you, James?
Probably Don.
Okay.
I think I've seen Don share it a few times.
Don, you there? Oh, he must be off doing something. Does
Yes,
anybody know
I
what
am.
this?
I
Hey,
heard you. Yeah.
You have black and green.
What is this, Don?
It's some kids took a weather balloon up over Alaska about 93,000 feet, give or take, with a fisheye lens.
And this is the
This is what
natural
they-
image that they got, or did they do some post
Yes.
processing? Or?
Yep. This is it. This is it.
What do you? What, I don't see.
Do you have
the
a
image.
hold
I
on?
got it
Do
from
you have a
Reddit.
link?
There's
I
a-
call
do you have
bullshit.
Do you have a
He's
link?
streaming it.
Do you have a link to
Yes.
the
Yep, I
the
posted
source
it.
or the footage that they took?
Yeah, I posted. Yeah.
Yeah, I
well,
call
there's no
heavy
footage.
bullshit.
You posted it?
There's no footage. Yeah, I
Hold
posted
on.
the link where I got.
Don't get
the source
distracted.
from.
Do you have it handy? I'm sure.
No,
can
I
find
gotta
it,
go
but
back up to the top.
There's been a lot of posts. Because it looks
Really?
processed, but I'd be interested in seeing.
What image are we supposed to be looking
On
at?
his stream, Brandon's stream, within Discord.
I
call
have
that
seen
green
pictures
bullshit.
like this where they'll take it in a cityscape, and it looks very similar to this. But
I believe so. That's probably what it is right there. It's in the chat.
Well, that's Photoshop.
That's what it looks like.
It's supreme
Of
bullshit.
course
You
it
can't
is.
see the full circle. Even if it was a globe, you wouldn't be able to see the full circle of it from 93,000 kilometers or meters or feet or whatever it was.
okay,
He's
so
looking
here
down.
it is. Why does this look like this? It says they
Jeremy,
have a
hot mic.
fisheye lens. What is that noise?
My
Hey,
bad.
hot mic.
Oh,
You're good.
okay. View entire discussion. They don't say.
There's another one. I have to find it. It has more detail to it. It's another post on Reddit.
It's Photoshop.
James is hot mic
If
now.
y'all not talking, mute, please.
Yeah, James.
Yeah,
you're hot mic.
I'll mute.
It
Yeah,
looks
this
like
is
here's the
Photoshop.
video. This doesn't look Photoshop.
There it is, right there. There you go. You found it.
It's
See how
some
it
kind of
does
camera
that?
that they're using. Let's see what this says
Yes.
here.
Can you post a link to the video, please?
Yeah. Don just posted it, by the way, but sure.
Isn't it it's a 360
I
camera,
see.
isn't it?
It's yes, it is. It's a 360
pretty-
camera. This
pretty
is a
badass.
projection. This is a projection.
Yeah, isn't it easy to do that?
Sorry, a
to make
projection?
Can you just play the video from a little bit farther back?
Yeah.
No, before they get this thing in, from when's the horizon.
Okay, I'll just start it here. Oh, did you see that? Here, I'll just start it.
There you go.
All right, so they send this balloon up. There it is.
Yeah, you'll see it there. See where they're standing is the whole sphere.
They got a camera
It's just a
pointing
black
down.
thing. Yeah, it's just the black like kind of thing of the camera is blocking the rest.
I don't think so. I think this is
No, because when it was pointing down at them,
Look,
see, look, it's this
but it's
black
not,
kind of
well
opening.
over this part, but wait till it gets
It's
up
just
there.
360
So I think
degree
all that
camera.
is
Yeah.
that's the edge. That's where the camera can't see anymore. If it's a 360 camera, the camera has to stop somewhere, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's what you're seeing out there. It's not
No,
like
it's
you're
just-
seeing space. Pretty sure you're seeing the end of the camera.
Exactly.
You're looking down, right?
Go back to the beginning, Brandon, when it's showing the people, and you'll see that there's still the black outline.
Yeah,
No, I
it's
get
only
that.
showing a
I get
small
that, but if
amount
you look
of the Earth.
if you look here, you can see the sun. So
This camera's
there's
Yeah, so
black.
that's the horizon.
You can
part,
see a
but
glare.
The other
Hold
side
on.
is being blocked by the camera's thing.
Oh yeah, I understand
What?
that. But what I'm saying is, it's this just because it's black right here doesn't mean that's the edge of it. Out here, yeah, out here is the
Yeah,
black
that's the
edge that you're
horizon.
talking about.
On the right side, it's being blocked.
This is, yeah, right. This is the it's making what's beneath it look like a ball, right?
Yeah, that's a curved horizon on the left, but on the right, there's more land that's being cut off. See?
Yeah, no, I got you. What happened? Did it pop?
So you can't see the rest of the Earth
So it
for the
looks
same
like
reason you can't see the rest of the dog when he puts his nose in front of the camera.
Well,
you
this
put-
shows
if you-
how easy you can make a flat
If you
Earth
go to
look like a
50
sphere.
seconds,
That's
if you
kind
look-
of a cool shot. That looks like
If you
something's
look
hitting
at 50
Earth.
seconds, you'll see there's two cameras on here. One's looking sideways, one's looking down.
Yeah.
there are-
Brenda, just think if they went twice or 4 times as high and did the same thing.
and reduce
Yeah,
this
it's a fucking-
360
it's a
kind of.
360 degree camera.
We've done
for fuck's
that.
sake.
We've done that. We've got live video from those high.
Yeah, we see that you've done that.
Yeah,
You
we
say
have.
we, but you haven't done nothing.
Yeah,
The
we've done
point,
that. Yes.
the point
No, you
is,
haven't, Brenda.
the
You haven't
point
done nothing.
is, the only reason I'm interested in this is it shows how easily a lens can distort the apparent shape of something that you're looking at.
Yeah, everybody knows that. We've known that for.
Well,
this is
we
not,
know,
that's not
no.
true.
Yeah,
Flat
we've
Earth
been
stuff.
talking
We
about
might
fucking
know that.
GoPros for fucking decades.
Oh my god!
we've
You
been
guys think I'm
talking
a
about
fucking
this
idiot? I
for a
haven't heard the
while.
GoPro argument.
Well, you
Think if
sound
you
like
go
you're
back
making a new argument.
270,000 feet, 300,000 feet, you use the same technique, you get more of the landmass, more of the waters,
Yep.
and you still turn it into a ball.
What's your
Right.
point, Brandon? Is there
And
an
then
argument here?
you go
Well,
out and
that's the
believe
whole
in it.
thing,
Saying that all
Don.
pictures of the
What
globe
is
are
the
taken to a
point of
fisheye
this
lens, right?
argument you have?
Wouldn't you let
Do you
Brandon
even have
explain
an
it, guys?
argument?
That's all my point. I'm
You
just saying
posted
they
it, Don. Why?
any of this high footage, we can't trust what we're seeing. It could be that when you get up that high and you use a certain lens, the Earth does look like a fucking ball, just like
Well,
this.
And that's why Mr. Sensible put up a fucking rectilinear lens with that string stretched across it.
You beat me
Those
to
The
it.
Earth doesn't look
those
like a
strings
ball
were
in
bent.
his footage.
Those strings were curved, by the way.
No,
It doesn't
yes,
look
it
like
does.
a ball in
Lens.
his footage anyway.
No, you use a rectilinear lens and you get rid of that distortion, like Mr. Sensible did.
Well, the thing is, if they're on the so-called quote-unquote ISS, who's to say they're not using this technology?
Oh, fuck off.
Well,
Yeah.
String's
The
out
purpose of
500
using lenses to
500 miles out in the distance. If
The-
the,
the
string
most-
is 500 miles out in the distance, then you have an argument because that's approaching our circle of sight. Okay, if it's right up by the camera,
There's no
Why
such
would they
thing.
be using this technology? They might
there's
just
no such
There's no such thing.
500 miles out in the
Yeah,
distance.
What does
there's
that
no
got to
such
do with
thing, Brian.
anything?
There's no such thing, Brian. There's no such
What's that
thing
got
as
to
a
do with
circle
anything,
of
Brian?
sight.
Please tell me.
Go to 239.
Don, the most sensible thing I can
Go
say
to
is
239 and watch Hollow Earth confirmed.
what the most sensible thing that you can say about this is that we can
there you go.
easily distinguish
There it is,
between
guys.
what's
Donut
real and what's fake, what's
confirmed.
distorted and what's not.
No,
distorted.
not when it's just
So hold on. So
presented.
what
to
they're
you.
saying is they put a string right in front of the camera. They think it should curve the same amount as the 500 miles off in the distance. Okay, just
That's
because
correct.
the string
That's
in
how
front of the
lenses
camera
work.
is straight.
Now
Okay,
imagine
so
this
that's right
picture.
where-
Imagine
Well,
this
okay.
picture 100 miles up with less depth of field or something to make it look not quite as severe. And
How about 200
it's gonna
miles?
look
How about
exactly
200 miles?
like the fucking bullshit
It's
pictures they
obvious
give
what
us.
they're doing.
It
Think
won't.
about
fire up
the angle.
Minecraft again?
Wow.
I think
It's
it
all
will.
about the angle. Do you ever notice
Look,
that?
I understand you Globers. I understand it's circumstantial evidence. Cases have been won with circumstantial evidence.
I don't
You
think
don't
this
want
is
to just.
circumstantial.
Well, oh, it's circumstantial easily.
How is it?
You don't want to.
This seems
because it's
interesting.
YouTube.
It doesn't seem like anything for either side. This
It
seems
proves you
interesting,
can
and
go
that's it.
up high. It proves you can go up high and get an image on your camera of the Earth that is not real.
Well, that's a real image, and that's the real Earth. But I know what you're saying. It's distorted.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. This is a real image. This is the real light. It's not Photoshop, and it looks like a fucking
And as
ball.
far that images can be real.
Right. No, and I think we can all agree. We can all agree. Though. Like, hold on. Let's say someone brought this forward as evidence for either side. I can give two shits. I think that we can all agree, no matter what side we're on, we would all say, no. You can see the edge here. It's all distorted to shit. And then we would investigate. We would all agree. That's what I'm saying. This isn't an argument for either side. This is just interesting.
You gotta do, but the thing is, all you gotta do after post-processing.
Go back to the beginning of the video when it's on the ground
They
and
just
pause
talk
it.
whenever they
Yo,
want to, don't they?
I was wrong,
I think-
actually.
I think the important
they
thing.
actually show a 360-degree horizon, and it's actually I didn't know that you could, with like an extremely
They have two
wide-angle
lenses.
lens, show the horizon all the way around like that.
That's why I was so. That's why I was so
Yeah.
interested in this percentage, is because you are seeing this. This is not manipulated. You're seeing everything the camera sees, and it makes what's in front of you look like a fucking ball.
Yep.
It's showing 360-degree horizon all the way around.
cameras on this
They're
balloon?
using a certain angle, right? If they have
Am
a
I-
certain
you guys
angle,
meet me or-
right?
or
And
what?
that's why they don't move the camera too much when they're on a so-called quote-unquote higher up in the space. They make sure it's angled properly.
It's crazy
They
wide
have
angle
no
lens right there.
control
I haven't seen how you could do that.
The cameras do move though, Don. Even if you want to
Not
call
slightly.
if you want to
Slightly.
call the footage fake, that's fine. But it's specifically to the camera movement, they do move in all types of point of view.
Slightly, and that's when you
See,
get that distortion.
I thought you seen a curved horizon at the beginning of the video, right? So you seen that the camera was already affecting.
Does anybody realize
Yeah,
there
of
are two
course,
cameras on
course.
this thing?
Both
the higher it
lenses,
got
both
up,
cameras they have
and the
are
higher
wide
it
angle
went
lenses,
up,
but one of them is
the
the
more
360
effect.
view type. And
Right.
It's crazy how it has the horizon
Yeah.
all the way around that 360 view.
James,
It's
do you
so
think this is
easy
a globe Earth argument?
to deceive with that?
No,
Right.
no, I'm trying to help them, like argue a little on their behalf because
There's no argument.
It's right in front of their face that this can be done with ease with today's technology.
Yeah, I think that would be the
But
point.
no
is
one
that
disagrees.
You see,
Amateurs
that's the
can
point.
make
Right.
something that's flat look
Yeah.
like something that's round. Like
Right.
it's a thing you can do.
Right. So what
we
would
all
your
recognize
argument be? How do you know that NASA's not doing that?
Oh, I see. So this proves this
It
fisheye
doesn't
lens
prove
proves that all
anything.
pictures
No,
from
it doesn't
space-
prove it.
It
He didn't
doesn't
say
prove
that.
anything.
All it
It's just
shows
a
is that it's a thing
question.
that could happen.
I see. It's something
Right,
that could
so that's
happen.
fine.
So
I understand.
NASA could be fooling us, and
Yeah.
everything.
Right,
all
right.
the pictures
That was
from
my
space
That's what you're
could
supposed
be
to do.
fake.
You're supposed to think
Right.
of different
NASA,
things
you're
that could
turning-
happen
They could be
and
fake.
analyze
You're
them.
turning into
Right.
Montreal. Relax.
Right.
So we don't have to devolve. So yes, I understand what you're saying, where it's something that's possible, and these are amateur people that are doing this. I think my response would be, we can look at every piece of evidence and we can be honest about it. And like I said, if someone presented this as globe proof, I would be one of the first to say, no, that looks like bullshit. I can see distortion at the edge. I can see a bunch of stupid ass shit. This is probably a fisheye. Where did it come from? Who produced it? Do we have raw image files? We can be honest about every single piece of evidence, and this one would not be evidence for either side.
Well, hang
Well,
on,
I
Bio.
think
Can I
we've,
say something?
we've
The
said
reason why
that for all the things, all the pictures that you guys have brought forward and claimed are real
the
pictures
reason why
of
you say it's
the ball Earth,
Bio,
and
the reason why
comes
you
up
say it's
severely
BS.
lacking.
The reason why you say it's BS is because of it doesn't match up to the model or the photos you have. Now, if it was
No.
higher up, it would be harder to distinguish, wouldn't it?
No. I would 100% disagree. I'm not looking at this and going, does this fit my model that I have? I'm not doing that. I'm looking at the picture and going, no, it looks fucking stupid. Look, I can see it.
It's important that you don't.
It looks
do
like
that.
a globe. If you don't analyze it, yeah, it looks like a globe. It looks like a circle. It looks like a 3-dimensional circle of Earth. Yeah, I could not analyze it any further and say, here's proof. But I could be honest and say, fuck the model. This looks like a piece of shit picture of reality.
But okay, so biodual. Let's say someone had, a few hectares of land, and basically like landscaped it to look like a part of the Earth, right? A part of the globe. And then they used this lens and went up a little bit, and with a 360-degree like horizon look, just like that one, they pulled up a picture that looked exactly like what NASA is giving you. You couldn't tell the difference.
Okay, and I'll respond with this.
Could.
This is how I'll respond. This is how I will respond. What if I could discern it? Because if you're going to give me a what if and whatever situation you want to create, I will give you a what if I had powers to discern it. So that'll be my response.
Okay, well, you're taking it to like absurdum. I'm saying they
I think that you are.
Landscape the ocean, like their little ponds, to look like the oceans, and then they use this. You wouldn't be able to tell, right? If you just had still images.
Technically, I would be able to, because what you're proposing is something that's not real. You can say, what if you learned that the Earth was flat? Sure, I can say, maybe I would do this, this, and this, but that's not reality. So what we can do is look at every piece we can look at every image, and we can make decisions. We can investigate.
So you refuse to actually like respond substantially to the hypothetical. You're just going to respond with another hypothetical.
Your hypothetical question, and I want to respond with a hypothetical answer. Is
that's not an honest response.
What if I could discern it?
Well, that's a great question, man. Check this out. If there's any, because I'm not good with computers. If I was, I would do it. I would be making images right now to prove to him he would not be able to tell unless he got the full data that tells you time, location.
If you're halfway acceptable, you can tell the difference between a photoshopped and a real picture.
I also wouldn't know.
David Weiss.
You should know that.
David Weiss did it to some guys. Hold on a second. David Weiss did it to some guys on TikTok. I seen where he had a bunch of. Some of them were half domes. Some of them were just flat objects. And they're like, which one's a sphere? And they just. I don't think any of them were.
Right. You have optical illusions.
Can't tell the difference.
Exists. But I wouldn't base any conclusion off of one image. It would just be a conglomerate of evidence or a collection of images.
So if they showed you a lot of images,
base your conclusions off of any amount of images.
So if they showed you a lot,
you can actually see yourself.
No, because I know the limits of my eyesight. I know the limits of my brain's interpretations of things, and I have been wrong about things that I've looked at and thought they were a certain thing. But as you get closer or do more investigation, they end up being something else. I know the limitations.
I seriously question that.
Math, Powerland, photo, or painting.
If you do more investigation, it becomes something else. Is that what you said?
Yes. Just pure observation using your body. You can be wrong about observations made. Of course.
Who is that, Brandon?
Kind of like we were saying before.
Quickly, please.
Do you think that's real, or do you think that's a Photoshop?
Who is that guy?
I don't know.
He kind of looks like the dude from Buffy.
That's artificial intelligence.
This is a Photoshop.
It's a photo.
Yeah, it's a photo. No, it's not a photo.
It's not a photo. It's an image.
It's an image.
It's like a painting.
What's the relevance?
I think.
What does this have to do with anything?
Photo or painting.
Right,
we would
just have to do more investigation. That's all.
Yeah, what's the relevance?
The point is that this 360-degree horizon,
if you can't tell,
makes it easy to deceive.
No, it doesn't. We called it out instantly.
Well, no,
if you can't tell the
listen,
difference,
my point of
Brenda.
bringing that up was not to say that this looks like the pictures of Earth that they give us. My only point was to say, look at how this lens can bend the light to make we'll agree, relatively flat surface at that height, right? Looking down, as Rumpus would say, the Earth is incredibly flat, into a fucking sphere, and you still have a horizon all around it. It looks like a ball.
Yeah. It's a very interesting photo, yeah.
But
that's why I shared it to you. That's why I shared it to you, Brenda.
Well, I'm sorry if I told you something you knew, Brenda. I apologize.
Good find, Don. That's a good find.
Why do you always say we, Brenda? Seriously, like we.
Because I used to say definitive.
Why not?
Even like yesterday.
Like NASA lands on the moon, you'll say we've landed on the moon.
We as in humanity.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Guys,
don't
even
get
like
it.
yesterday, I was saying definitive evidence for me would be the horizon turning into the full sphere of the Earth. But now I know
Well, as
how
in
easily that can be
humanity,
fucking.
nobody's landed on the Earth or the moon.
Well, okay, wait a minute. But I mean, by that logic, we are all rich
Percentage.
because some of human race is rich. Like, that doesn't mean anything, right? That's not
Well,
good sense.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. It's
perfect
perfectly
sense.
good. It's perfectly good.
Okay, so
So
we are all
if you go
rich.
by percentage, if you go by,
Is that really the next argument? Is the definition of we when we talk about human achievements and shit?
Well,
Is it
see,
really
hold
what
on,
we're
I don't
arguing
really care
about?
if we discuss it or not, but his
Yeah,
point is
man,
valid.
make it
Why would they
important,
say
dude.
we? You don't
I
go
think
around
you're
saying
missing the
we
point there,
for everything
Bowdo.
that other humans have done.
No,
when
you don't.
Brenda says we have been to the moon, does anyone here, flat or globe, think that Brenda was
All right.
literally on the moon?
I
Does anyone think
digress.
that when she says we have been to the moon?
No.
Right. So who fucking cares? No one knows. No one thinks that when she says we have been to the moon, that we think
Well,
Brenda
when
has
you
put
say
feet on the moon. We don't.
That's not what
think
he was
that,
saying.
obviously.
He was saying other
Let me
things.
talk,
and-
dude. Let me talk. All right. She said, as in humanity. When you take humanity and the percentage of it, then the outcome, the answer would be we have never landed on the moon.
It's an
You
achievement.
can't take.
It's an achievement.
It's not an achievement. Not
Yeah,
not if everybody on the Earth has not been there and only.
Brenda said earlier we could measure our light cone with a dog bone.
Think about it. That's a perfectly logical.
Again, this is the dumbest conversation. If someone
James,
wants to
you're gonna
argue with
say
it, that's
something?
fine.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
I
see. I'm not going
digress.
to.
Yo, James, you
look
gonna
how-
say something to me?
I look at that post, Brandon. Look how real those exotic cars look. They look more
Yeah.
real than those.
What is this
That's
supposed
nothing.
to prove, though? What is this
That's
supposed
nothing.
to prove?
That's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
compared to what I just posted.
Yeah, but so what? What is it supposed to prove?
What do you think it shows? It just shows you how easily things can be made to look real that are
Yep.
fake. That's it.
But you can't conclude from that
No
therefore
one
pictures
is
from
drawing
space
a
are fake.
conclusion.
Oh
from
no,
that.
you can't. All by itself, you can't come to that conclusion. It's just like but if you know somebody in your life who has lied to you consistently over and over again, and then they bring you information that seems suspect or could be suspect, it makes sense to then question that information, not accept it wholesale as if it's absolutely true. That's all.
Brenda, it just shows you that the pictures from space are not definitive evidence.
Right.
Look how real those
They're
are.
not
I
proof.
think that
They're
there's
evidence.
there's a confluence of evidence, and so yeah, in the case of pictures from space, I think that they are good evidence. They're
I don't
very
think
good.
so.
Look at that.
Because-
Look at those cars,
Okay,
though,
so
guys.
then pictures of
That's
Darth
what?
Vader are good
Because-
evidence of his existence.
No,
then.
they're not, because the
Sure they
pictures
are.
from the pictures.
If pictures
from,
are good, they're good.
No, the pictures from early in the space program are before there was anything like the kind of CGI we have
Before you
today.
knew any-
Does
okay,
it-
so you
no,
believe
so
that-
what? You know that
Yo, Brandon,
CGI didn't
that
start
Corvette,
the
that
fakery.
picture of the
Fakery,
Corvette, that's
photo
good
fakery
evidence.
didn't. Photo
hear
fakery didn't
anything.
start with CGI, Brenda.
Yeah,
Let's not pretend we weren't making models and fakery for ever since we had the visual media.
You're just
Yo, Brandon, that picture of
special
that Corvette,
pleading. This is just
good evidence that that car is real. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah,
See,
the
this is what I said
building's
to you.
real. This building's real. This street's even real.
You yelled-
This model of car was built.
5 minutes
That's
ago, you were
crazy.
yelling at me for saying this, that you would. This is where you would go, and this is exactly where you went. That
No,
all pictures
look
from
how
space
you
real
are
guys
fake.
are so.
You're just special, please.
You have your head
No,
so
this
far
big
up the
man
ball's
has to show
ass.
this
5 minutes ago,
misunderstands what
you
You
yelled
can't
at me
even
for
think.
saying this.
Or is doing it on purpose.
Before I left to go out and cook, you yelled at me for saying that you were going to go where all pictures in space are fake. And guess what? That's exactly where you
That
ended up.
I know. I said that I'm not using it
They
as
are
proof.
all fake.
The only one who
We're not
said that
saying
so
they're all
far
fake.
is
We're
you.
saying
Pretty
they're
sure.
not true.
At least
It
that's
can be done. It can be done. It can be done. That's the point. It can be done.
It can be done.
If you're a flat earther, then all images of the Earth in a spherical image are fake. That's a given. It's
No,
not
that's
flat.
not. It's not a given. It's not
This
a given.
this mountain's real. This road's
He
real.
was going off like, you guys think all images of Earth are fake. Well, if they're
It's not a
flat
matter
earthers,
of they all have to be
Because
fake.
all
It's just
images
that
of the
if
Earth
it can be
are
fake,
spherical.
that means all of them are suspect. All of them are less than good enough for proving something. That's all.
No,
That's all
that
it
means
means.
that we don't know if any of them are true.
That's
No,
exactly
it
what
doesn't.
it means.
It doesn't.
If you
It
can
means
make
exactly
something that's
that.
fake that looks like it's real, then that
Oh
thing
my
can't be
goodness,
used for
dude.
evidence
Our
of reality.
photographs.
That's what I said.
photographs-
Exactly where I said we would go. Exactly where I said we
No,
would.
but you're missing the
Rob Dole.
distinction. You're missing the distinction.
Yeah, of
what
course
we're
he
saying
is.
is that
Or he understands it and he's making a dumb argument on purpose.
Bob
That
just
might also
explained
be-
it perfectly. All we're saying is, look, this can be faked. We have no
Yes.
way to validate these things. We can't accept them
you do.
as evidence.
The fact that something could
No,
be
we don't,
faked
because
doesn't mean
we
it
haven't been to
is
space.
faked.
No,
We
it means
haven't
it could
been
be.
to
You
the
can
moon.
verify
It
the
means it could
picture.
be.
You,
It means
you
it
can
could be.
verify, you can verify
It
the
If it
picture.
could be, then that means it
follow.
can't be accepted as true because it could be fake.
You could.
Our
means we
photographs,
don't know
our
if they're
photographs
What Brandon's
accepted in a
saying-
court of law.
what
Our
Bra-
photographs accepted in a court of law.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
All
no,
the
yeah,
points,
they
the
are.
same
There we go.
criteria.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Compared
Wouldn't
to
that
this.
depend on the
though.
judge?
How come they're
Wouldn't that depend on
Photographs are
the
accepted in a
circumstances?
how come they're
court of
accepted
law.
then if they could be faked? I mean, they could be faked. you
Okay,
know,
so
they-
pictures
Yes.
from somebody that the court knows is a liar and has lied repeatedly during the case would be accepted. Those would be accepted in
have
the court
to
of law as
show-
evidence.
You'd have
Yes,
prosecution
they're-
would have to
you
show
don't
No, they
that
wouldn't.
it
No,
was
they
confuse it.
wouldn't. The court would say
Brendan,
no.
your
We want to
question
accept
is-
it.
Confusing
That
what
evidence anymore.
evidence
No.
is, guys.
Your question has the answer in it. You asked photographs. We don't know if these are photos. That's the point. We don't know if
Yeah.
the Earthgraphs are photos. If they were photos, then yeah,
Well,
that'd
we
be
do-
fine.
Hey, let me read this
truth
real
is we
quick because
don't
I want to respond to this question. Photos are used so often it's easy to forget the fundamental requirements of getting evidence admitted in court. Two basics require that photos must first be relevant to a material issue in the case, and second, that they be properly authenticated.
Yes, and we can do that.
Yeah,
for the
and the
photographs from space.
prosecutor
No.
will bring
No.
up a professional.
We're gonna authenticate the photos.
Prosecutor, hold on, Brandon made a good point.
The government is
The
not a proper
prosecutor's going to bring
authenticator.
up a professional photographer on the witness stand, and then the defense is going to bring up one that they picked, right?
Right.
But
Because
you can find it out in the metadata, though. You can find it out in the
Yeah,
metadata. The
yeah.
metadata would tell you if it's fake or
They're
not.
shown as they're accepted as evidence. So if it's real and you're telling the truth, it could help you, right? But if it's fake and you're lying because it was accepted to the court as evidence, it's going to be proved that you're lying because you're faking.
in the case,
an
in the
evidence.
case of photographs,
So you
from
can't just
space,
look at it
we
one
have-
way. Is all I'm
we
saying.
have a chain of custody. We can show you the camera and the negatives and the paperwork that shows a chain
You can't.
of
We
custody.
can.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
It's
we
at
Can
the
you do that with
Smithsonian.
the moonlight?
The
You can do
camera-
that.
The camera is at the Smithsonian. You can see the picture of the camera that
What
took
about the
photograph.
So what?
I have a
I've always
camera at
had a
my
tough
house. Does
time.
that prove that I took the
Chain
pictures?
of
The
custody,
telemetry
chain
Are
of
you
data.
talking about the ones on the moon,
It's a
Brenda?
chain of
Pictures
custody.
from
The
Lying,
telemetry data.
People who lie wouldn't have lied about the chain of custody.
It's a chain
even
of
if they're
custody.
lying, they wouldn't lie about that.
You'd
Linda.
have to prove that there is something wrong with the
I don't have to
chain
prove
of
anything.
custody.
No.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
just saying that I don't believe.
Yes,
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Okay,
Yes, you
make me.
would.
Try it. Try it right now. Try and make me.
In a
So,
court of
yeah,
law,
I
you
don't
would
have,
be
I don't have to
required
prove
to.
anything. I can deny
Well,
what
yes,
you're saying. I don't have to
on the
prove
moon
anything.
landing.
Stick your
No,
finger-
I
so
don't
you would
believe
have
you.
to
Stick your
prove
finger
You're a
in your
liar.
ears and
they're
go la
taken
la
in
la la
space.
la la la.
You're a
la,
Are
liar.
you
la, la.
listening, clown show?
It certainly sounds to
Brenda
me like
Clown
you guys
Show.
are saying that
You
all
would
pictures
have
of
to
space are
prove
fake.
that those
Sounds like
pictures were
Glober's
taken in
spiraling.
space.
I don't have
Sounds
to
like a
prove
chain
a
of
negative.
custody.
Space are fake.
You have chain of shit.
Hold on.
Chain of
Let me
nothing.
say
That's
this
what
to
you
Brenda,
do.
guys. This
Proper
is going to be.
documentation.
Yeah,
There's
please
proper
don't
documentation.
Brenda,
Proper
this is
documentation.
getting- She's winding you up on her
In the
little
court
finger.
of law,
Everyone knows you
court
can't
of law,
lie if you
Brenda,
write it
if
on
I was
paper, guys. It has to be true if it's written
hold
down on paper,
on,
right?
let me help you guys. Let me help you guys. In the court of law, if I was to say I landed on the moon, and the prosecutor asked me for, let's say, the data that proved I did, do you think it would help me in my case if I told the court I lost it?
We deleted it. Yeah, that would
No,
help
no,
you a
they-
great
but they
deal.
didn't-
Actual word
That's
is
a
discredit.
chain.
Discredit.
Of data that
They
goes
didn't lose
talking
it,
about.
though.
You
The
get
camera-
arrested
they
for
didn't-
destruction
Didn't
of
lose
evidence.
it.
They would
Okay,
throw
they
you
didn't
in
lose
jail.
it.
The
Okay.
would take
They
you,
didn't-
handcuff you,
They didn't lose
and
it.
take
though. They
Brenda
didn't lose it.
on her
The
and
camera,
throw her in jail.
the camera
Lunatic.
is at
A white,
They
a
didn't
straight
answer the
white
question.
guy.
All right. Well, we'll get to the bottom of that tomorrow. tomorrow. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging in there. I appreciate it. Cleary, give me one example of a 2D object in reality. An actual 2G object in reality. Let me think here. I'll have to think about it. I can't think of one. I don't think that it exists, to be honest with you. I think that was probably your point, but thank you, Clary. Much appreciated, man. And we'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And shout out to the mods for taking care of business in chat. And thanks to everybody who supported the show. Big shout out to JQ for all of his super chats tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you guys have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.